A new era for American cricket began in 2021.
There he goes into a dive! What a catch!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Primus goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship returns June 25th.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Suhas Vedam here with me on the comms. I'm Joe Hickey. We went over and made a point of watching that final over in order to see the exciting finish. And East Bay very nearly had total control of their own destiny, but Seattle just barely squeaking out that run chase.
Absolutely, Joe. Very warm welcome to everyone watching. The man with the ball in hand had a tremendous game, last one with a bat in hand. Not so much at the moment as this one being carved for four. Katane Clark and Dale Phillips. Now, Katane Clark and Dale Phillips, this Kiwi combo has earned a lot of fans from Seattle.
Indeed, today they are going to be hoping, after having vanquished a pair of Kiwis in the San Diego Surf Riders this morning, that they can get that advantage by virtue of East Bay falling to defeat here. The basic situation playoff-wise right now is if East Bay win out and Seattle sweep their pair against the Grizzlies next week, as the third delivery of the over is a dot ball here. Dots on either side of the opening four, or the second ball four, rather, from Katane Clark. But if the Blazers and the Thunderbolts win out from this point forward, it'll be a tie at 11-3, and it'll be decided by net run rate, where the Blazers now have a very serious advantage. That ball to the right of the sight screen and over the boundary. 4-6.
Stand and deliver. Katane Clark, why does he even need to leave the crease when he can stand and smash the ball a long, long way? He's chosen a wonderful area as well, straight down the ground. You can't set a fielder there. The risk factor is minimum in the first 6 overs.
And of course, inside the power play, unable to set many fielders out there in the deep, let alone wasting one directly in that spot.
Sanjay Krishnamurthy misses his mark. Katane Clark does not miss out on the opportunity. It's the same field, mind you. Just that Longon's moved a cosh towards his right.
Alternating dots with boundaries at the moment. Sanjay Krishnamurthy yesterday, 3 overs bowled, 2 for 10. So already given up 10 runs here in his first 5 deliveries. Looking to restrain Katane Clark here on the final ball of the first over.
Oh, poor attempt there. The captain has himself to blame. Should have been stopped.
So Clark will retain the strike. It ends up being 11 off the over to get things started. 11 for no loss here from Morgan Hill.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
11 for no loss for SoCal Lashings. A positive start for them as they were dealing in boundaries in the initial part of the over. The Kiwi combo continues for SoCal Lashings. They decided to go with what works best for them. There was a little change in a couple of games that they played prior to this one, but what works best for them is Dale Phillips and Katane Clark opening the batting more often than not.
Although Phillips has had his trouble so far in this trip up to Northern California. He had a very quick start, followed by an immediate dismissal in Game 1 yesterday morning, and then followed that up with just 2 off of 4 balls. Meanwhile, coming at you from the San Pedro end, Carmelo Rue into the action. And this is somebody coming off of a pair of spectacular outings. He's got back-to-back 4-wicket hauls, one of them against Hollywood for 14 runs, perhaps a team that you'd expect him to target. The other one, though, 4 for 26 in that big win against Silicon Valley.
Carmelo Rue has made a huge difference once he's been included in the side. Wasn't available for the entire season, mind you, but once he's come back, he's made his presence felt in every single game. Angelo Pereira now has one less thing to worry as he takes care of the main overs, a couple of them in the power play and a couple of them held back. There were moments where Angelo Pereira decided to go for the kill, and that's when Carmelo Rue put his hand up to be a part of the middle overs conspiracy as well.
Indeed, so far half of his overs inside the power play, 4 for 30 in those 6 overs. That one in the air for a moment, but it will run down and fools the man down at third man. I believe that might be the one of the 2 players into the side today. There are a pair of replacements to the squad from yesterday. Arshdeep Brar in, as well as Shashank Vitaladevaram. They enter in place of Premjit Panesar and Kulpreet Singh.
Angelo Pereira provides a word of advice to Camille Leroux and also provides him a slip which is slightly wide. It's that time of the day where the wind is picking up, so even if you're a good swing bowler, you got to calibrate and curve that swing.
That one a little miscalibrated, started at the stumps, wound up behind the man on strike, Captain Clark. So far, 3 boundaries for him, along with the single that kept him on strike. Dale Phillips still waiting for his first bit of participation.
It's one of his favorite strokes. Dale Phillips gets away with a gift. Well, that's one way to stamp your authority, Dale Phillips.
Captain Clark there actually at the striker's end at the moment. Phillips still awaiting his first delivery, and Clark turning on a short ball there and pulling it away. Bit of fetch being played at the boundary, ball finally back within the oval. So a pair of dots to start, followed by a pair of boundaries. Let's see who pulls this tug of war next. Leroux steaming in for the penultimate delivery of the over.
That's much better from Camille Leroux. Camille Leroux, of course, has the advantage of height as well, so will generate that extra bit of bounce. He wants to utilize the wind that nature is giving him at the moment to try and take the ball away from the right-handed Captain Clark.
That wind also whipping down the pitch along with a cross.
Straight to the captain Angelo, who with the tumble will ensure it's a dot ball. Another slip has been added to the quad, and it's a cradle of slips eventually.
We'll see if they stay put there when we come back at the San Pedro end in 6 balls time, but that's the end of the second over. 20 for no loss.
1, 2, 3.
Positive start for SoCal Lashings. 20 without a wicket. And Captain Clark has done the bulk of the scoring as Dale Phillips awaits his turn.
He will in a moment face the first delivery of the day from Nawaz Khan. Khan, who does a lot of his work in the nitty-gritty ends of the match, the power play and the death overs accounting for 76% of his overs on the season. Bit more of an economical bowler in the power play at 7.25, a little below his economy on the season of 8.3. Does have 4 wickets inside the power play, 1 every 4 overs exactly. First delivery, a dot.
A very good delivery as well from Nawaz Khan. The engine's nicely getting warmed up.
At least for that first delivery, continued to have a slip in place with Vikash Mohan. He's been turned away now and will...
I think it was just to check if he's generating swing or no. Coming from that end, he's also battling the wind.
Might think that a headwind could give you a little bit extra motion blowing over that seam. There's a tough one. We talk about the corridor of uncertainty. And Dale Phillips feeling pretty uncertain for the duration of his time here in Northern California.
Captain Clark has a word or two for Dale Phillips.
And we saw, Suhas, the pitch right now, not a lot in terms of rough for the spinners, but a good patch of live grass awaiting anybody who's bowling a good length with pace. Nawaz Khan looking to target that again. That's a very full ball, and that is lifted and belted. You see a puff of dust indicating that that one got over across the boundary rope. A 6 for Dale Phillips. His account now officially open.
Full swing of the bat, just wants to continue from where he left off. in LA. Boy, was it tremendous innings that. Just wants to continue with that form, just hit through the line. You've got to admire the audacity of this man. The previous delivery coming from a tall bowler didn't bounce as much. This one hits through the line, connects cleanly, sends it sailing.
We were saying Phillips that time down in Los Angeles, having been installed as an opener alongside Katane Clark. The change made to bring out Harpreet Singh and put Phillips alongside him for the Kiwi connection. A 40 and an 84 not out that weekend in a pair of victories. A little more trouble here in Northern California awaits the next ball from Nawaz Khan after the 6.
It's got to rush. It's a clean pickup as well. Not often do you also have the risk of running into the man who's gotten the throw in. Does well to evade the coming in of the tornado.
There's an old saying that nothing moves faster than the ball, but looked like the fielder on that one trying to give a lie to that. That was Vikash Mohan steaming in from square leg. Or correction, mid-wicket. That'll bring Clark back on strike. So far, 19 off his 12.
Seems to hurry the batter now. Nawaz Khan, off late, because of the surfaces that he's been bowling to, he's been relying on the cutters and not the pacey deliveries. Now he's applying more pace. It's something that he's usually known for. A very good reader of the game as well, Nawaz Khan, apart from being someone who can clobber the ball a long, long way.
Well, and there may even be a little bit of an adjustment period to the new pitch for the SoCal Lashings batters. We talked about the one being sticky a little bit yesterday. Not nearly so much here as Katane Clark. Adjustments made. That one deposited over long off, and that is a no-doubter. Another 6 to finish off the over, and that was a majestic one there, Suhas.
The first one for Katane Clark. Borrowing a leaf out of Dale Phillips's book. Same region, same result.
33 for no loss through 3.
Fantastic.
My son. He's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking. And he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom.
Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Carmine LaRue will stay on from the San Pedro end. His first over went for 9, a pair of Katane Clark boundaries along with a wide. We'll steam in a moment here to go against the captain. And right now, you've got to say the best looking power play, at least at this juncture, that we've seen from SoCal Lashings this weekend. They put 46 on the board for the loss of 1 and 41 on the board for the loss of 2 yesterday. Already 33 and counting. That one, the only question is, did it make it over on the fly? The answer to that is no. But another quick 4 runs, 37 now.
What a way to start the over. Dale Phillips gets one in the zone and does something that he usually does with the first 6 overs. Just chip it over the infield, use the pace of the bowler. And SoCal Lashings with a positive start with both the Kiwis firing all cylinders. Katane Clark 25 of just 14, and Dale Phillips getting a move on. Whoa, that's a fantastic delivery indeed. It's a statement sent to the opposition. It's not the regular bouncer. He's also rolled his arm over it, rolled his fingers over it as he released.
Carmine LaRue with a great comeback delivery after the 4 cut over the covers. Dale Phillips, to your point, Sue, has a 119 strike rate on the season, but he bumps that to about 132 inside the power play. Looking for that strong start. This one looks like it'll get over the top of the men on the offside. Long run. Sanjay Krishnamurthy will backhand that and keep it inside the boundary rope. It's just going to be a pair of runs as a strong throw comes in to the wicketkeeper's end.
Yeah, no problem at all there. A couple of easy runs. Expected a little more. Expected the ball to crattle into the fence. When you're trying to chip it over the infield, you want to be measured with your aggression, but on that occasion didn't get it from the best part of the bat. Camille Roux is someone who wants to utilize the angle to make the outside edge be generated.
Face of the bat closed and the ball guided just backwards of square leg. No overthrow taken on that one. And a single.
Dale Phillips has done his part in this over as well. He scored a boundary, he's attempted another, now he's picked up a single and given it to his other Kiwi partner. Katani Clark, who's going great guns as well, 25 of 14. The importance of an early wicket has come by. Oh, this is a good ploy, but very well negotiated. Almost was waiting for it. The field suggested that it's going to be the shorter stuff, but it was pitched up and the feet went in the right direction. Katani Clark watching the bowler, watching the ball to the last moment.
And near Yorker on that one, and just a little shuffle backwards to make sure you could clear the bat, not have that get a piece of pad beforehand. Final ball of the over coming up. A good comeback from the 4 on the first ball, just 4 from the over since that, but a very rough ending for Carmine Roux. What a shot backwards of square leg and all the way for 6.
It turns out to be a fantastic pitch to bat on. It's coming onto the bat nicely. Carmine Roux provides the pace. Katani Clark just provides the guidance.
4 overs in the books. SoCal Lashings going at almost 2 runs a ball, 47 for no loss.
1, 2, 3.
Angelo Pereira, after 4 overs, he says regroup team. The mini cabinet meeting is done and dusted with. I think what was discussed over there is let's take our own time. Let's not give the momentum to the opposition because it's about a wicket over here. And so very often we've seen the East Bay Blazers, it's a matter of 1 wicket. They try to claw themselves back in, especially if a spinner gets into the game. Then boy does Angelo Pereira get interested to unleash all the spinners he has, including himself.
Of course, a new one of those coming into the attack right now from the Barrett Avenue end will be Mark Dayal, and this is the longest that Dayal has been held in reserve this season at the beginning of a match, with the lone exception of the second game of the year when he only bowled the 7th and 18th against Seattle. Otherwise, by the 3rd over, he's had one under his belt every game this season.
In fact, he used to be the one to go and choose the new ball, not like the Pacers who usually do, because he used to bowl the first over.
6 of the last 8 games, he's been the one with the new ball. Coming over the wicket with the right arm spin. Clark didn't get all of that. In fact, Sadeep Ganesh thinks he didn't get any of it.
Angelo Pereira is pleading. Sadeep Ganesh is appealing. Mark Dayal is in disbelief. While 3 of the main fielders were absorbed in the appeal, the single was complete.
See if we've seen a signal from the umpire, whether that's a single or a leg by.
Nothing came in. That means a bit of bat is what saved him there. Otherwise, could have been a tight call. Mark Dayal right into the business. First ball gets an appeal.
Well, and you have to imagine for Angie Pereira, obviously you want the wicket no matter what, but an opportunity to have that genius moment of I turned the right dial, and there you go, a wicket right away to break this partnership that is already nearly at a half century, just a few balls past 4 overs.
Got him, and yes, the dial is turned indeed. Mark Dayal clatters the stumps, and that's the first for SoCal Lashings. A good start has now been truncated as Dale Phillips missed a straight delivery.
Beautiful work from Mark Dayal, always a threat inside the power play. He's been responsible for so many wickets early in matches for the East Bay Blazers, and has made a habit particularly of removing openers, and gets his man again. Another captain headed to the shed. He's gotten Sammy Aslam as well twice this season.
Mark Dayal be telling the boys, well, I think I was held back and hence it just took a bit more time to get the first wicket. Dale Phillips gets a start but doesn't get going as he misses a straight one. The Rajveer Khosa will find himself in the middle. Another big hitter of the cricket ball. Today is he's allowed to take a little bit of time, not much, because Katani Clark at the other end is going well. A lot relies on this pair if SoCal Lashings want to put another win on the board.
24.3 the average on the season for Rajveer Khosa. 89 the strike rate. Tendency to go a little bit circumspect. Yesterday's match, 38 from 42 in the second one. First delivery from Dayal, hit right back to the bowler. A dot to start Khosa.
He's covering the line of the stumps as well. Rajveer Khosa has marked Dayal's, making all intentions clear of bowling as straight as possible. Inside out. And will disappear to the fence. Rajveer Khosa has announced his arrival.
Picked up nicely by the young righty.
He's come up, I say.
50 has come up here for the SoCal Lashings. Just moments after the breaking of the partnership, we were at 48 for 1 as the wicket fell.
Wouldn't mind this at all if there could be the power play of 50 above and just a one wicket to lose. A wicket to show that they've lost. Oh, would want that single, but get more. Kamil LaRue with his long strides would escort the ball to the fence. He delayed the dive to the last moment. Two back-to-back boundaries in different fashions, one more convincing than the other, but boundaries nonetheless.
Mark Dayal, after 1 run and a wicket off the first 4 deliveries, sees the figures mussed up just a little bit. 9 off the over. 56 for 1.
6. This is not going to be.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At SoCal, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Second game. It also happens if you go in between to watch the third. We went to the third. But, are we on? 5 overs, 56 for 1. SoCal Lashings will take this any day against the likes of East Bay Blazers. This one didn't bounce as much, but that's in the gap too. Katani Clark, as he slows down in the run, realizes the ball is going to crattle the fence. Oh, what a beautiful shot this one has just eased it in the gap.
A hat trick of 4s for the SoCal Lashings here on the last 3 deliveries, finishing up Dayal's over in encouraging fashion, and now continuing off the young man Sanjay Krishnamurthy. Sanjay gave up 11, 2 of them coming off of a boundary and a maximum from Katani Clark in his first over of work.
You gotta love the different moods of Katani Clark. Yeah, one moment he's as delicate as handling an infant, just handling that infant, just caressing it through covers, collecting boundaries. The other moment he'll be bludgeoning the ball to all parts of the ground to collect 6.
Good comeback from Krishnamurthy with the dot on the second ball of the over. This one targeting the legs, and Katani Clark with some movement across the crease there to cover his stumps, able to navigate that without losing his wicket.
Well, fine leg inside the circle, wanted to open another area to explore. Sanjay Krishnamurthy quick to recognize that, watches the batter till the last moment. Every shimmy is accounted for.
Let's see if the strategy continues. Clark stays put this time.
Oh, good ball. It's almost a replica of the previous delivery, isn't it, Joe? It's just that he's quite content bowling somewhere around the middle to turn it around the off. Not the regular bowling of bowling on the off and turning it away. Oh, that's in the gap too. You produce a wall on the offside. There's still cracks that Katani Clark can hit through. And it's gone for 4. Second boundary in the over.
Decent turn off the surface there, but a bit short from Krishnamurthy, giving Clark enough time to adjust to the new trajectory and guide that one through the hole on the offside.
Katani Clark is providing great entertainment. And it's one of those very rare games, as this one ricochets straight to another fielder, the captain himself, and remains a dot ball. We'll keep the chat alive with Joe.
Indeed, final ball of the over, final ball of the power play, a resounding 64 for 1.
Fantastic.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Will continue from the far end. 6 overs, 64 for 1. SoCal Lashings would take it any day. What a good first power play SoCal Lashings have had, and one of the architects of that power play is still in the middle for them, Katani Clark, the surviving Kiwi.
And Katane Clark, somebody yesterday who was part of stitching together that innings in the match against the Silicon Valley Strikers, the better of the two outings for the SoCal Lashings yesterday. 60 off 46 in that one, 4 boundaries, 3 maximums, finally bowled late in the piece.
He got very excited there, Mark, as he realized cannot be a catch, but the initial instinct is always to call it a catch. The cries of catch it only to die down as soon as it came out. Rajveer Khosa, he's got the reach to go for the big shot. But sometimes as a batter, you need the reach, of course, but along with it, the mindset. Oh, Katani Clark, a little nonchalant while playing that stroke. I thought if he got into a better position, that would have run away before with the fine leg inside the circle.
Indeed, didn't need a whole lot on it, just got to keep that fine and straight.
Just marginally short. That is the margin of error as well. It's just shrinking and shrinking as this man's getting into great touch. Katani Clark puts that one away for 4.
Third maximum of the innings so far for Clark. He's had a few that have been a little more majestic. That one,
it's gone.
That was, I believe, the signal I saw from the umpire. Yes, indeed.
Well, I think they're still confirming.
We'll see if he changes his mind, but it does seem to have been given on cricket clubs.
Oh, then there it is. Another maximum. Gently tapped away for a single. And Katani Clark's allowed to do that at times because he's just sending a signal to the opposition that he wants to play a longer innings. What a good start this is for SoCal Lashings. 7 overs gone, 74 for 1. What an exciting game of cricket we're having. 7 overs, 74 for 1. SoCal Lashings against the East Bay Blazers on a track which is juicy to bat on. You can just hit through the line as Angelo Pereira decides to bring himself on. You need at least a 200 over here, it seems.
Indeed, something needs to change and fast for the East Bay Blazers to try to restrain this net run rate, give them something chaseable. Only match this season with a more pyrotechnic power play against the East Bay Blazers bowlers was that first game down in San Diego when they gave up 69 for 1 in the first 6 overs to the Surf Riders, but that wound up being a 5-run victory for East Bay.
A very rare dot ball. East Bay Blazers would want a little more of this. A couple more dot balls and you never know. The batter getting impatient and throwing his wicket away.
Pereira very clearly checking out Tom Nielsen's impact ratings and has become aware of the fact that he doesn't want to be bowling himself in the power play. Of course, he's also got his own, I'm sure, emotionally tinged memories of traveling in the first 6 overs, but very good in the middle overs and dynamite at the death this season.
Excellent shot, just measured aggression. That's in the gap too. Rajveer Khosa has caressed it as delicately as possible and got a lovely result indeed. That is the extra reach. That is the height of Rajveer Khosa coming into play. Height plus lovely wrists. That'll be another single. A single to end the over as well.
6 from it, 80 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Eight overs gone, exactly 10 runs and over so far for SoCal Lashings, looking to put up a total worthy of a valiant defense. East Bay Blazers finding out what Seattle did in the opening match today, which is nothing's easy, especially when you're keenly aware of the need to continually match the efforts of the teams surrounding you in the standings. For East Bay, the stakes are simple. They can keep control of their own destiny to whatever extent is possible with a win today. That one off the hand of a leaping Mark Dale. Rajveer Khosa just barely able to get that over the jump.
Rajveer Khosa survives. Now Cattany Clark, will he continue to bat the way in the same gear? Generated something is what the keeper feels. Cattany stays put and he has all the rights in the world to stay where he is because the finger that matters has stayed down. Mark Dayal is bleeding. Umpire Mark says nothing doing.
Very rare to see Sadeep Ganesh quite that animated in an appeal. I mean, obviously, when looking for that finger to go up, you get loud, but that one right there, I mean, that was everything, including jazz hands at the end of it as he was trying to sway Mark.
And that's the mark of a good fielder as well. Angelo Pereira wasn't his best in the first over, but you look at him anticipate using the bat phase. As soon as the bat phase opened, he was able to anticipate and walk towards the left, and that's what caused that to save an extra second. And when you know that extra second can do a lot when it's a game of inches. Good delivery meanwhile from Mark Dayal, who continues to chip away with the balls as quick as possible. Ball to the keeper, reset, ball again. It's happening very quickly here. Mark Dayal is finishing overs as quickly as possible.
5 balls already gone, and he's been able to keep it out of Clark's arc by going wide of him, and another dot ball, 5 of them on the trot to finish the over, just a single run from it. Best over of the day so far for the East Bay Blazers bowlers, 81 for 1. Nearing the halfway point over the first innings, 81 for 1. SoCal Lashings will take on the captain, Angie Pereira, again from the San Pedro end. Left arm spin round the wicket, and he's lit up the Zing Bales, and that is the end of the road for Rajveer Khosa.
He's yorked himself there. Angelo Pereira held his nerve, gets the first one right on the money. And a tall Rajveer Khosa doesn't get down on time. The ball sneaks through and an important wicket for the East Bay Blazers. The captain shows the way.
81 for 2 now, and in a span of about 7 balls, the feel has changed considerably. They were going at 10 and over, now that rate under 9, and the second wicket down. Patney Clark, of course, survives and continues to look to accumulate runs at the other end, but he's going to have a new partner. We'll see in a moment who that is. There is one new batter available. It'll be Zohaib Ahmed today. Not any change at the moment to what they ran out with last time. There is one change in the team. Dilpreet Billing out of the lineup today after being involved in 2 games yesterday. Shiva Vashat is the new entry, and we'll see when they bring him in the course of the batting lineup.
Outbox 100 first-class games, ton of experience. Zohaib. The team's got off to a great start, something that he did not see all through the season. Today, will he bat the way that he normally does back in Pakistan too? Loves to break free. Loves it when he's not under pressure.
And the Lashings will be looking to avoid the general topography that their innings have taken on over the course of the season. Their scoring rate tends to drop drastically in the middle overs from roughly 8 runs and over to just barely over a run a ball. They also start losing wickets about twice as cheaply at this point. An average of 32.6 in the power play drops to 16.6 in the middle overs and all the way down to 14 at the death.
Captain Clark is also resorting to singles. Angelo Pereira would be mighty pleased with the fact that he's not only picked up a wicket, but the previous over is what cost this wicket too. A very tight over from Mark Dayal meant Rajveer Khosa had to do something on the first ball. Every time there's a puff of dust, watching it from this distance, you don't know if the ball snuck through or no.
Pereira working quickly. He'll give up a quick single here as it's worked to the vacant mid-wicket area.
At the moment, East Bay Blazers are playing a game of who can finish the over faster.
Another dot ball to finish it off for Angie Pereira. 3 from the over, along with the wicket of Rajveer Khosa, 84 for 1.
1, 2, 3.
We'll be seeing the final over of Mark Dayal from the Barrett Avenue end. It's been one heck of a stretch so far. Started off as the wicket taker immediately after the change. Knocked around a little bit in his second over, and then 1 run conceded to apply the pressure, as Suhas said, to bring about the wicket of Rajveer Khosa. Another big swing and a miss. Clark a little off balance, and for a moment, Saideep Ganesh with half a hope that he had stumped him as Clark swayed.
Captain Clark, as he always does, helps the opposition, sometimes with fielding, sometimes with setting the furniture, all while having survived a scare just moments ago. Also lends his bat.
That's a multi-purpose tool. Sledgehammer in one moment, as you mentioned, something that can caress a little bit of leather towards happy places, and also a hammer. Sometimes wrapping your head around some housework can be a way to eliminate your anxiety. So perhaps that's the moment right there. Like, whew, I'm still here, and let's do that.
One man patrolling the boundary rope is been set for just that shot from Captain Clark. Just one man on the offside. Now 2 rather, with a long off, very, very wide. Oh, that has been clobbered. It made a lovely sound as it came off the bat as well. Zohaib doesn't want to stick around and pick up singles. He joins the party.
We'll give Dafa News a chance to take a look at the photographs they may have gotten of that one as it traveled over the boundary, because we've got a little while to wait as it's being chased. I believe that has made its way all the way to the straight boundary at the opposite side of field number 2. Ball clobbered by Zohaib Ahmed, and then on top of that, a fast outfield over on the auxiliary. It's been the only downfall so far for Dale. A lot of dot balls. He does have the 1 wicket, but he has now gone for 2 4s and 2 6s, counting for the vast majority of the runs he's conceded thus far. Looking for a comeback delivery against Ahmed, and he does cramp him for some space. They'll work the quick single as it's pushed to mid-wicket.
It's a very positive start for SoCal Lashings as they inch towards the 100 mark. And to get there with 8 wickets to spare would be mighty pleasing for them. Mark Tayar quickly gets onto it.
Dot ball to finish, 9 runs from that over. 93 for 2. The spin parade continues. Over number 8 in a row, bowled by spin. We've seen a little bit of Pereira, a little bit of Dale, a little bit of Sanjay Krishnamurthy in this span. Middle overs have yet to see any pace, besides that being generated by the bats of Ahmed and Clark. A single to the outfield to start here against the captain, Angie Pereira. That brings Clark back on strike, pretty much all the deep protection in front of him. He'll run that down to pretty much the same spot that Ahmed did a moment ago. Brief hint of a misfield. Clark thought about taking off for a second, but he'll tuck back into the crease at the non-striker's end.
The throw was at the non-striker's end with Captain Angelo Pereira collecting it. But look at Saideep Ganesh, who ran all the way from the keeper's position to be the backup just in case. Excellent stop. Just enough to negate this thought of a single. Then comes the execution.
Well, it's been the theme all weekend here, the bowlers being the best fielders off their own bowling. This one sprayed again to that same spot at the covers.
The wind is picking up. It's that time of the day here at Morgan Hill, California, where the wind picks up. The commentators look for paperweights. The tents look for more support. And the bowlers look for swing.
This one worked over to the onside for the first time in the over. Thoughts of a second, negated by the strong arm and quick legs of Sanjay Krishnamurthy. A 4th single out of 5 balls. Pereira keeping it tight. The run rate has slowed way down over the last few overs. And again, Pereira sprightly out to claim the ball off of his own bowling. And Katane Clark stays rooted to his crease. Just 4 off the over, 97 for 2. And keep note, Katane Clark
To Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by SoCal. SoCal Lashings off to a good start, 97 for 2. As Katani Clark approaches what would be a well-made half-century. 48 at the moment, with the help of 5 impeccable boundaries and 3 wonderful sixes. All of them, no half measures whatsoever. Now he's going to be up against some pace. Nawaz Khan, will he start to rely on cutters in this particular spell?
Could come in handy bowling into the breeze right here. Might even get a bit more of an apparent difference in pace between that and the faster ball. First one though, radar's off. Down the leg side for a wide.
Yeah, the umpire will stand like a scarecrow for a moment. The runs granted, the ball's not counted. The Katani Clark has definitely kept East Bay Blazers on their toes. 48 of 40 balls. Not only is he relying on boundaries and sixes, but he's quite content picking up the singles and converting them into twos. Oh, a little stutter as it went very quickly to Kami de Leroux. And Kami is also somebody who's got a lovely arm to get the throw in as quickly as possible. Saideep Ganesh in an excellent position to collect it too.
And unlike somebody like a Zia Shahzad or a Sanjay Krishnamurthy, they will have already seen that arm on display as a bowler as well.
Katani Clark looking to break free. And gets helped with a poor delivery. There is protection in the deep though. We'll keep it down to a single there.
Well, they're going for the 2 and the throw is down to the keeper's end. Bit of hesitation on that, but they do take the second run.
And that would bring up the half-century for Katani Clark. 50 or just 42 balls. A little acknowledgement.
And on top of that brings up the 100 for SoCal Lashings. We said during the period between overs it might happen on the same ball, and there it is.
Being helped with some ordinary bowling as well. He's got a good field set for the offside. He's bowling on the leg. That will carry. No, it doesn't, but he had a split-second decision to make, whether to convert it into a catch or hang back and take it on the bounce. He chose the former, but didn't come through this time around, as he's got to go a longer way to retrieve it. A boundary nonetheless, and SoCal Lashings get a move on.
Decent attempt there from the debutant, Shashank, out there at long on, but unable to make up his mind. Is that the fielder's version of the corridor of uncertainty there, Suhas?
That's a whole ground of uncertainty. It's not a corridor, of course, because there's no line involved here. But Shashank quickly finds out what's required and what this level of cricket tastes like. That's what you get in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by SoCal. You got to be switched on at all times. It's blink and you miss kind of action, especially when the spinners are in operation. As you blink and half of the over is done and dusted with. Gentle as always when he feels he doesn't need to clobber the ball. Now, we've been talking about Katani Clark's approach. One moment he can handle an elephant, the other moment he can handle an infant.
A little bit of the elephant that we saw a second ago with Shashank trying to chase that one. I'll tell you this, I gained a whole new respect for what goes into trying to make a catch on a ball hit that hard out of the boundary when David White just about decapitated us in Davis.
One more thing about that catch, trying to convert that into catch, of course, Shashank, is the fact that the sun was right in his eyes. As soon as he bends down, he's got to pick the ball as well when it comes at that particular height.
Goodness gracious, Suhas, the wind whipping around our tent a little bit.
I'm telling you very honestly, we started off 4 yards on this side, right side.
Getting ready to say there's no place like home. A pair of dot balls to finish off the over as Nawaz Khan gets one to skid under the bat of Zohaib Ahmed. A wide plus 7 runs off the bat from it, 105 for 2.
What, enjoying commentary? Enjoying commentary. Sanjay Krishnamurti. Bud, are we on? Sanjay Krishnamurti will roll his arm over. The plans are clear. Try and purchase a wicket. Won't be surprised if he flights the ball a little more, with Mark Dayal now patrolling the offside fence, long off to be very precise, and long on's Angelo Pereira. I think it's the same combo that started minor league cricket for East Bay Blazers. Angelo Pereira back at long on. The second run was a stutter. It's one of the truths of the game that both the batters need to run if a single has to be complete. Not at different times, but at the same time.
Some great work out there on the boundary, charging in Vikash Mohan, and a very accurate, powerful throw down to Saideep Ganesh with the gloves.
Saideep has been excellent. It's one of those roles in cricket where you're noticed only when you make a mistake, and you're not applauded if you're all right on that particular day. Keeping's one of them. He's shown great athleticism, he's shown great awareness, Saideep Ganesh, and we also talked about that instance where he was able to cover up for his captain's misfield. Quickly going through the over, just following the template. Remaining captain's best friend. You always are when you complete the overs quickly, isn't it? He doesn't have a penalty to attract then. So far so good. Just dealing in singles. Singles are fine, especially with SoCal Lashings trying to get a move on yet again. Catany Clark hits it against the wind, picks up a single.
A bit flatter, that one from Sanjay Krishnamurti, with the wind at his back, going right to left across him. This one looking for the gap on the offside. Picked up out in the deep. Another single. Currently dealing in those off of Sanjay.
Milking the bowling at the moment, ensuring that dot balls do not come by, because those are the ones which will add pressure.
Final ball of the over coming from Krishnamurti. That one pounded into the ground. A little bit of difficulty working his way around Zohaib Ahmed. That'll allow the ball to get past for a single.
Another single added to the tally. 14 overs gone, 1-1-0 for 2.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
The umpire's got to go and field the hat first.
Well, there's a bunch of folks that have been chasing papers every now and again here from this Morgan Hill wind.
Oh, yes.
Particularly our producer, Bud Jadabans, who did some amazing work out in the field.
I genuinely thought he'll take an Uber back, because that went a long, long way.
At peak hours?
Spare that thought for Andrew, who has promised us that in the second innings he might take a parachute and land in the hills nearby. Oh, that is screamed off the middle of the bat. The fielder in the deep would be a mere spectator unless you give him a jetpack.
Andrew, a little more left on one.
For Catany Clark, his 4th maximum of the innings, pushing the total up to 64. I don't think he's hit one harder than that.
This man's personified power at certain moments. Otherwise, we've talked about being delicate at times. He's just using the entire spectrum of what a batter can do with a bat in hand. And at the moment, with a shot of this kind, the fielder in the deep will be jumping in vain yet again. 2 sixers back to back, teasing the fielder yet again.
Oh, and dream stuff for the photographers there. The Dauphineau's backdrop and the minor league cricket logo behind the diving attempt. Trying to keep that one inside the boundary rope.
I think Katani Clark is whispering the ball, Sunoko, the fuel that takes you further. At the moment, Katani Clark has walked out with a willow which doesn't have an edge, which doesn't have a blade, doesn't have a toe end of the bat. Everything's the meat.
I imagine those must be very expensive, otherwise everyone would have one. Is that right?
No, you ask him politely enough. He's a Kiwi, he'll give it to you. And to start with, you're wearing the right jersey to be asking him.
True that. Go Black Caps. That one worked over to long on, and it appears two fielders just about getting in each other's way. Doesn't cost them an extra run there as Clark and Amit decide to settle for the single, but brief Keystone Cops moment out there in the outfield.
All right then, SoCal Lashings looking good for 170 is what the projected score tells us. Zohaib Amanat is crouching. Usually stands a little taller. On that occasion he was crouching, perhaps wanted to see the ball being pitched up so that he can get underneath it, hit it with the wind. Zohaib Amanat has been the batter who's looking at his bat in disbelief. I think quietly he'll ask Katani Clark to show his kit back at the end of the day and probably nick a bat off. It's quite good to nick a bat off, but not nick off the bat. Katani Clark goes through with this one as well. The ball's growing wings as this goes away. That would have been 6 in the adjacent ground too, put together the both boundary ropes. The sixes are getting bigger and bigger. I really wish we have a highlights package for this over. If you want to teach your kids superlatives, this is one way to do so. The first 6 was big, the second was bigger, and then comes the biggest, all in order.
What are we going to do if he hits one further than that on the final ball of the over? Gonna have to start making stuff up.
Well done. Yeah, that's another column added to the grammar books as well. Much like we've added another supplementary sheet to the cricket books with the V region being behind the batter these days. Katani Clark, in the initial part of his innings, was teasing the fielders as he hit it down the ground and now is making them redundant. Oh, much better. As he digs this one out, he's also called for the second one. The second's going to be taking the throw on. Gets there eventually. Because he knew how hard he hit it, he was the right person to call for 2 as well. 44 yards covered with these. Fantastic end to the over for Katani Clark and SoCal Lashings. 15 overs gone, 132 for 2.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At SoCal, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Is that the commentary? No worries.
Sanjay Krishnamurthy stays on at the San Pedro end. First delivery, well bowled. So Amit just able to flick it away. Dot ball to start on the heels of a 22-run over off of Nawaz Khan.
Yeah.
Talk about something trying to get back a few of those lighter overs all in one fell swoop.
I think there's a Ruchir Joshi somewhere with a smirk. Tapped away. Will pick up a single and watch the genius on strike now. Zohaib Ahmed, 100 first-class games in Pakistan, in Islamabad boy who doesn't try to match the partner shot for shot, even though he has the caliber to go for the big shots. That'll be wide. Katani Clark didn't want to let that go as well. A very, very rare dot ball. Now these are the things that you make an NFT of. the rarest of the lot on a track of this kind with Katani Clark on strike. Didn't bounce as much. Well, if that's an indication of something that can happen on a regular basis, then we're going to spice up this contest. Zohaib Ahmed quite content to play the extra pair of hands required a little early into the shot. We've so often talked about the appeals being decided by decibel levels.
That one was a little meek.
Yeah, where does this sit? I think you're going to form a choir. You already identified a few people.
I need Raymond Reefer as my mezzo-soprano. That is belted towards the pavilion. Where on earth has that landed?
Luckily on earth, as you rightly put. Went into the skies to venture more. For a moment, the airports nearby would have caught something in their radar. What a way to end the over.
A cheap one to begin with, but 6 off the final ball. 9 total, 141 for 2.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Is it off or on? Off, right? We're going to be a little more around. We're going to move this way. I'm completely... Is that hot? Yeah, thank you. But...
Change of ends for Carmel Leroux, who will be coming from the Barrett Avenue end. First delivery of his death over spell, flared off the edge of the bat.
For some reason, there was a cry of catch it. For some reason, I think that was fueled more by the excitement part of it, not the belief.
Krishnamurti's spell over with 33 runs conceded, no wickets, so he'll be looking to do his damage with bat in hand. And if yesterday was any indication of what he's capable of, throwback to 2021 with a 75 off 25.
And Katani Clark is also having a conversation with his dugout as he sets to face the next. Seems to have spoken the right language in that conversation. It's gone for 4. Again, he's just throwing the bat at it, and it's disappearing to the fence. Katani Clark is having a day to remember. And at the moment, he's also being held by a lot of prayers from the men who turned out in pink today earlier. The Seattle Thunderbolts. As much as this game is about the one being played here, it's about the last column of the points table too for other teams.
Well, Thunderbolts earlier today very nearly falling to defeat against the San Diego Surf Riders. Had they done so, East Bay would have been in position to win today and try to win on Saturday against Hollywood and claim that second playoff spot with no doubt in mind. They still do have to sweat out net run rate at this point, along with getting the 2 wins, because Seattle still on 3 losses, just like the men in yellow and blue.
Once again, because you get an early boundary in the over, that means you're allowed to take those singles without any pressure whatsoever. Now, Zohaib has got a clear mind. If it's in the slot, he'll go for it. If not, he'll pick up a single. Well, that is very wide indeed. That would have been a wide even if you're playing on the adjacent pitch. Sometimes when there's no slip in place, you demand too much from the keeper, don't you?
Could have used a helping hand in that moment. Luckily, Arshdeep Brar back there at short third man, able to lend a hand.
We haven't seen Arshdeep Brar roll his arm over yet. might not be in business this time around. It'll run away to the fence. Mark Dayal was running full throttle only to retrieve the ball.
The 150 has come up here for SoCal Lashings as they look to push even further forward. Still another 3 overs plus 2 balls left. Partnership at this point long since past the 50 mark, sitting at 69 runs. Actually, with the 4 added on to that, make it 73. Ball finally fetched as Mark Dayal throws this one back. Remarkable to me, that ball managed to make it to the boundary. Feels like that wind was aimed exactly in the direction to stop it cold. Two balls remain in the over.
His thrown is batted it again, and that's in the gap too. Mark Dayal gets around it. Will keep it down to 2 with a good throw. Overshoots the target, but no damage done as there was protection. Kamileru is being treated with disdain. 1 more over to complete his third. He's already going at an economy of 13.5. You take it any day as an opponent if you can score 13.5 against Kamileru. That's in the air. That's not traveled the distance, but will land safely. Katini Clark today has packed a bat, a pair of gloves, a pair of pads, and a lot of luck in his kit bag. End of the over with a couple more. 17 overs done and dusted with. 158 for 2.
It'll be the captain, Angie Pereira, from the San Pedro end here in the 18th over. Taking a look at the scorecard at the moment, LaRue and Navaz each with 1 over left as well, but both of them have traveled so far. First delivery is stroked to long on. Sanjay Krishnamurthy up with it, and a single to start the over.
This one kept a little low, but straight to the fielder as well. Another rare dot ball. Angelo Pereira would be thanking his stars. The first one was a full toss, mind you, which wasn't put away, with Sanjay Krishnamurthy lurking in the deep. Zohaib Ahmed decided to keep it down to a single. Katini gets this one in the gap. He was a little late to start off with as well. The fielder in the deep. The dive would be in vain again. Moves on to 99 with a boundary of such class.
And of course, he's been to 99 once before this season.
We need you in the scorer's box as well, as much as in the commentary box. That's what that 99 reminds me. 99 at the moment. Katini Clark will have to wait to celebrate. That is if he gets there. Angelo Pereira darts one in. Quick to reset and bowl the next. And with that single, one of the most romantic moments of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. 100 for Katini Clark. He had to wait a while to reach the 3 figures mark because he knows the heartbreak of missing out on 99. A well-compiled 100 at a time when his team needed the most. A time where the team said, you got to take the lead after an early wicket. Well done.
Indeed, so very close to reaching that milestone in his debut. It took a further 11 matches for him to rebuild an innings of that sort. Oh, two to be taken quickly here. Good work as the ball was just not charged in the deep by David White.
Excellent batting. Wonderful communication between the two, converting that into 2 runs. 18 overs gone, 166 for 2.
Good day from Pereira with the ball.
Bud, is it switched off? I'm very surprised. Why is there no Ashdeep Brar when you know he's got the extra height and there is a lack of bounce over here?
Two overs to go. It'll be Carmine LaRue from the Barrett Avenue end. The discussion here in the comms wondering a little bit about the lack of use of Arshdeep Brar. Very useful spinner, a lot of height. Someone who may have been able to take advantage of the variable bounce on this surface. The first delivery from LaRue sprayed to third man. Vikash Mohan up with it, and it's a single.
Batting 101 from Katani Clark. Currently batting on 101 as well. Oh, what a masterclass this has been. Down the ground when it mattered the most, taking the bowlers on, throwing caution to the aggression, hitting with the wind and converting singles into 2s. Doesn't get it from the best part of the bat. Shashank this time hangs back and picks up the ball on the bounce. Will keep it down to a single. It came from the back of the hand, as Zohaib's suggesting. Interestingly, we've covered, it's the second game that we're covering and we haven't seen a single Yorker from the pacer. We've seen 2 from the spinners. That is in the space of 2 games.
Well, there you go. Asked for it on command, and it is flared off to the gap on the offside. The only question is whether it got over on the fly or on the bounce. The answer, on the bounce.
All right, at the moment, 11 men are just not enough on the field to stop this man. He's still picking the gaps. He's still scoring those boundaries. Put the whole squad in East Bay Blazers. I'll tell you what, the last shot he hit it against the wind. Not like he cared. He wanted a boundary, he got it nonetheless. Shimmying outside. This is the first sign of innovation from the man who's relied on the copybook and textbook cricket so far. Everything that he's touched is turned to gold. Katani Clark take a bow, 106, might as well return unconquered, you never know.
At 106, by the way, putting him in the top 5 scores all season here in minor league cricket. LaRue able to, oh, never mind, outside the tram lines. For a moment there, thought that he had just deceived Amit, who was leaning back and suddenly saw the ball very, very wide and unable to take advantage, but too wide.
How lucky are we to be calling 2 centuries on the same day, 2 centuries on the same day in the same ground. And yet it's not a batting paradise, mind you. It's got a lot in it for the bowlers too. And 2 contrasting styles of those centuries with 2 different kinds of batters. Is he there? Is he there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
1 ball left in the over here, 7 balls left in the innings as the 175 has come up. Last ball of Carmi LaRue's spell, and that is drilled. Taking aim. And a man seated past the boundary rope at long off. Katane Clark, another gorgeous 6.
Just go through with a shot with no half measures. Right now he's looking at the cricket ball and sending it sailing to make it look like a golf ball. All the while he sees the ball like a football.
Just 6 balls left in this first innings, and as a quick little note, 18 runs away from the high score this year in minor league cricket. Katane Clark, listen up. We'll see whether he takes aim at that. In the last 6, our score here through 19, 181 for 2.
We've seen some breathtaking strokes, but that one was something else altogether. having one up on Camille Leroux, shimmying across, making him believe that he's not going to be able to touch that. Suddenly growing a feet with the pad. I don't know how. Drawing a couple of feet with the bat, and then getting it from the middle of the bat nonetheless. He's just sliding the bat in and out of his hand as well. To some level, this is different kind of batting altogether.
We will see from the San Pedro end whether Nawaz Khan has any more luck trying to restrain this batting pair. The partnership, by the way, on that 6, reaching a century. Started at 81 for 2, now 181 for 2. Khan responsible for 22 of that in his last over of work.
Nawaz gets a change of ends to bowl the final over. 181 already. This could be taken. This is the wicket. Gurbakhsh doesn't make a mistake. Nawaz Khan will have the last laugh as Zohaib Ahmed, who had the best seat in the house to watch Katane Clark go bonkers, will be back in the pavilion after a 27 in the supporting role.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is at least the 4th time that I have mentioned the size of a partnership and immediately seen it broken within seconds.
You would be gifted a gaffer tip by SoCal Lashings at the end of this game.
I'm starting to wonder, Suhas, every time you ask me to mention it, whether you're just like, you know what, I got a hankering for a wicket. Let's see if I can make this happen. For Nawaz Khan, certainly not out of character for him. That's his 9th death overs wicket of the season, striking once every 11.3 balls over the course of this year, and gets it on the very first delivery of his death overs spell here.
181 for 3 with 5 more balls to go. Katane Clark on strike. And Katane Clark striking it big too. That will travel the distance. We'll wait for the umpire signal. No, it doesn't. Just inside. Just inside the boundary rope. 4 for the taking. The onslaught's not done yet. It's 185 with Nawaz Khan having to change his plans. Would he go wide outside off? It's something that he does usually. Hasn't done so far.
Katane Clark continuing to move up the leaderboards. 116 not out, now the best score all season in the Western Division, passing Shahan Jayasuriya's 115 that he scored down in Texas. Next on the list would be to take the top spot in the Pacific Conference. Nauman Anwar had a 119 against Michigan Cricket Stars. Could be one shot away from that.
Katane Clark this time tries to ease it into the gap. Will find Vikash Mohan. Will pick up a single and find himself at the non-striker's end, which is not a bad ploy at all as far as East Bay Blazers are concerned. They'd be quite content to see him off strike.
Oh, without doubt. He's faced 69 of the 120 balls here in the 20 overs. So it's actually been more rare to see him off strike than on in this match.
Nawaz Khan. Would he be bowling the toe crusher, or is it just going to be another back of the lane stuff? He's gone for the shorter ball. Hasn't executed it to perfection. Swivels away to send that for 4. Hutchinson makes his presence felt right away.
Elmore enters the chat.
What a shot. 186 for 3. 190 with that boundary. This is game on.
Started out with the 10 runs and over, up through 8. Seemed like East Bay were beginning to pull it back with a couple wickets, a couple of less expensive overs, and now a absolute crescendo finish, as you've been begging for all weekend. Suhas coming about, and a couple balls here to see if they can bring up 200.
190 for 3. It's a good total indeed. Looks like a 200 kind of a track is what we discussed initially. Elmore Hutchinson swings but misses. The final delivery coming up. That is if it is a legal delivery.
And it does appear that will leave Katane Clark on 117 not out. A spectacular innings facing 70 deliveries out of the 120. And the highest score this season in the Western Division, 2nd best in the Pacific Conference, and 3rd in minor league cricket.
I will get that single. Katane Clark was still looking for 2. The fresher pair of legs was Elmore Hutchinson's, who was content with a single. At the end of 20 overs, SoCal Lashings put a dominating 191 on the board. And East Bay Blazers would have already started to bat in their mind. They required 192 to be pronounced winners, and they need to win this one to stay alive.
There you go.
The man with the ball in hand had a tremendous game, last one with a bat in hand. Not so much at the moment as this one being carved for four.
It'll be a tie at 11-3, and it'll be decided by net run rate, where the Blazers now have a very serious advantage. That ball to the right of the sight screen and over the boundary for 30 in those 6 overs. That one in the air for a moment, but it will run down and fools the man. Participation.
It's one of his favorite strokes. Dale Phillips gets away with a gift.
Navas Khan looking to target that again. That's a very full ball, and that is lifted and belted. You see a puff of dust indicating that one got over, being sticky a little bit yesterday. Not nearly so much here as Katane Clark. Adjustments made. That one deposited over long off, and that is 41 on the board for the loss of 2 yesterday. Already 33 and counting. That one, the only question is, did it make it over on the fly? The answer to that is no. Back from the 4 on the first ball, just 4 from the over since that. But a very rough ending for Carmine LaRue. What a shot. Nearly at a half century, just a few balls past 4 overs.
Got him, and yes, the dial is turned indeed. Mark there. Clatters the stumps, and that's the first for SoCal Lashings. Possible. Inside out. And will disappear to the fence. Rajveer Khosa has announced his arrival. So 1 wicket to lose. A wicket to show that they've lost. Or would want that single, but get more. Carmine LaRue with his long strides would escort the ball to the fence. He delayed the dive to the last moment. Any day against the likes of East Bay Blazers. This one didn't bounce as much, but that's in the gap too. Katane Clark, as he slows down in the run, realizes the ball is going to crattle the fence. Oh, that's in the gap too. You produce a wall on the offside. There's still cracks that just marginally short. That is the margin of error as well. It's just shrinking and shrinking as this man's getting into great touch. Katane Clark puts that one away for 4.
In the first 6 overs, but very good in the middle overs and dynamite at the death this season.
Excellent shot, just measured aggression. That's in the gap too.
Simple, they can keep control of their own destiny to whatever extent is possible with a win today. That one off the hand of a leaping Mark Dale. Rajveer Khosa just barely able to get that over. Pereira again from the San Pedro end. Left arm spin round the wicket, and he's lit up the Zing Bales, and that is the end of the road.
Oh, that has been clobbered. It made a lovely sound as it came off the bat as well. Zohaib doesn't want to stick around and gets helped with a poor delivery. There is protection in the deep though. We'll keep it down to a single there.
Well, they're going for the 2, and the throw is down to the keeper's end. Bit of hesitation on that, but they do take the second run.
And that would bring up the half century for Katane Clark as well. He's got a good field set for the offside. He's bowling on the leg. That will carry. No, it doesn't, but he had a split-second decision to make. Whether to convert it into a catch or hang back and take it on the bounce. Second innings, he might take a parachute and land in the hills nearby. Oh, that is screamed off the middle of the bat. The fielder in the deep would be a mere spectator unless you give him a jetpack the moment. With a shot of this kind, the fielder in the deep will be jumping in vain yet again. 2 sixers back-to-back. Katane Clark goes through with this one as well. The ball's growing wings as this goes away.
I need Raymond Reefer as my mezzo-soprano. That is belted towards the pavilion.
Sets to face the next. Seems to have spoken the right language in that conversation. It's gone for 4. Haven't seen Arshdeep Brar roll his arm over yet. might not be in business this time around. It'll run away to the fence. Mark Dayal was running full throttle only to retrieve the ball. Decided to keep it down to a single. Cattany gets this one in the gap. He was a little late to start off with as well. The fielder in the deep. The dive would be in vain again. Moves on to 99 with a boundary of... And with that single, one of the most romantic moments of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. 100 for Cattany Clark. That is in the space of 2 games.
Well, there you go. Ask for it on command, and it is flared off to the gap on the offside. Has come up. Last ball of Carmi LaRue's spell. And that is drilled. Taking aim.
To bowl the final over, 181 already. This could be taken. This is the wicket. Gurbaksh doesn't make a mistake. Nawaz Khan will have the last laugh as Zohaib Ahmed, who had the best seat in the house to watch Cattany Clark go bonkers on strike. And Cattany Clark striking it big too. That will travel the distance. We'll wait for the umpire signal. No, it doesn't. Just inside. Could it be another back of a lane stuff? He's gone for the shorter ball. Hasn't executed it to perfection. Swivels away to send that for 4. Hutchinson.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco. You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Welcome back, folks. The 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championships presented by Sunoco. We have got a chase that's got all the fixins, all the makings for a legendary one here. Joe Hickey with you, Suhas Vedam as well. We're glad you're here to join us. Warm welcome to you wherever you may be tuning in. We've got a bowling lineup here that is going to be spotted a total unlike what they have ordinarily gotten over the course of this season. The support not always there for the SoCal Lashings. On the season so far, they have yet to manage to protect a lead. 0-4 when batting first, but that 191 hanging heavy, 192 the mission for the East Bay Blazers, and they will get it started with arguably one of the best opening partnerships in the league, Saideep Ganesh and David White. It'll be Ganesh seeing the first ball here from Elmore Hutchinson.
Elmore Hutchinson has got the height to generate extra bounce, but on a track which is generating the lack of it. Dale Phillips would emphasize to his boys the importance of an early wicket. That is exactly what they lacked the previous time. They did pick up a wicket, of course, but they weren't at it all the time. The performance was very lackluster, and it definitely lacked the zing.
Well, and generally speaking, Suhas, if the middle overs are where the SoCal Lashings have had their struggles with the bat, it really has been the power play where with the ball they've had their problems. The best strike rate on the team inside the power play belongs to Raj Purohit. It's 36. It's not impressive. Just 9 wickets in 10 matches coming into this weekend. None after 6 overs in 5 of those games.
And that is what East Bay Blazers would have talked about at the halfway stage as well. Target the right bowlers and make your course of 190 look simpler.
Certainly one that has to be attacked in stages.
Just get a feeling that they'll break this target into 2 short targets and approach it accordingly. East Bay Blazers, they've got the batting prowess to go for it. Can they pull it off on that given day? Lashings would believe that this is a cushion good enough. 190. 191, the mission begins for East Bay Blazers. Work to do for third man. Keeps it down to a single. Saideep Ganesh is off the mark.
And a shot with very little risk attached at that point. Banged straight down into the surface. Back to third man. Opportunity to get up and running.
You're going to be a very busy player indeed. When you're chasing 191, don't want to waste any time whatsoever. David White, he will be key. Saideep Ganesh would have been given the license to bat the way that he usually does by exploring all areas of the ground, while David White is more conservative of the two in terms of the approach, but very, very effective once he gets going. It's a poor delivery. We'll wait for the umpire's signal. Wide. Elmore Hutchinson will have to reload.
And Ganesh, as of late, a couple of lower scores than he was accustomed to, had gone on a nice string of matches against Silicon Valley and San Diego with a 56, a 38, and a 32, and a 30 against Golden State. Last 2 has been held under 20.
Oh, carries through covers. A gorgeous shot indeed. And this outfield will carry the ball itself to the fence.
David White, a customer who's been operating in boundaries in recent games. 10 against the Grizzlies, 7 of them against Silicon Valley, 10 more of them against the Hollywood Master Blasters. The odd man that manages to go for 72 off 46 as an opener and still not be the player of the match yesterday due to some of the firepower that finally came around down the order.
He's called this one off. Elmo Hutchinson will not be a happy man. When you get hit for a boundary, you want to quickly release the next one and make sure that you're on top. Suddenly you realize you've got to run in all again because the batter seems to have had a disturbance with his side screen.
Yeah, it does appear that they're moving it slightly to the side to get its alignment correct. Umpire gesticulating a little manically there. I think there might be a white tarpaulin of some sort that has settled behind that sight screen off to the left. And he's asking them to get that out of the way so it doesn't interfere with David White's vision of the ball. Or maybe it's just the people.
I'll go with the latter.
They are easier to move. Perhaps as the gesticulating continues, indeed it is that white tarpaulin. That is the offending item.
And the white tarpaulin, being a tarpaulin at the end of the day, would be fluttering over the amount of wind that we have here. And David White doesn't want anything white behind that side screen. Elmo Hutchinson says, let's get a move on. Delivers a beauty.
Hutchinson on the season, as we said, along with most of his teammates, not exactly a wicket taker inside the power play, but does usually keep it pretty tight. 5.25 his economy, an average of 25.2.
Very well fielded, quick to pouch the ball on that occasion.
Talked about the tarpaulin fluttering behind there. What isn't fluttering right now? Strong winds in Morgan Hill. A feature, not a bug.
A strong wind's got to be useful for both the bowler and the batter. It depends on who utilizes it better.
Get something in the jet stream right now and it will travel. David White, top edge, running to the boundary at third man. That's going to beat the boundary rider to the rope. 4 more for David.
Nicely done. Sanchit Sandhu was a little wide, a third man for Elmo Hutchinson's liking. And the ball just had enough fuel to reach the fence. Sandhu was running full tilt, but soon realized he'll only be there to retrieve and not field. David White, owing to some cheekiness, has got another boundary. They got a boundary. The first one, is it? Or the second one? Yes, another boundary. And as he so often does, will tap and run after getting the boundary.
That'll take care of the over. 9 for White, 11 for no loss for East Bay Blazers.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Pace from both sides as we get started here in the second innings. Sanchit Sandhu will go from the San Pedro end. Didn't get a good look at him yesterday. Very sparingly used in the 2 matches against Silicon Valley and Golden State, but somebody who you really particularly have enjoyed the work of, Suhas.
Oh yes, it was a different kind of a bowler when he was back in New Zealand, where he honed his skill as a pace bowler. and was terrific in the initial part of the minor league against the Silicon Valley Strikers in the first attempt. That's the first time that both the teams squared off. Bowling those dot deliveries to Unmukh Chand. That is when he announced himself at this stage. Not one, not two, but 5 of them strung together. But off late, he's been little off color as well. Like yesterday, you saw too many deliveries which were full tosses for his liking, and sometimes on the leg side as well, straying down there. This is not at the best of his form. He needs to gather some strength, calibrate his line and length, and utilize the wind to his advantage. With the jerseys fluttering from left to right.
Who needs a flag?
Gorgeous delivery first half, right on the money. Sanchit Sandhu. Before he starts to unleash the different variations that he has, one of the slower deliveries that he's been working on is the cutter, and is a good Yorker. He's got a lovely bouncer as well, but before he goes into those variations, he would want to settle down and get some rhythm, because that's what he's been lacking in the last 2 games.
Indeed, and it's cost him a little bit in terms of economy. The stage of the game where his economy has been best at 8.35, 8.6 overall, a little bit unsightly at the death. He's been used a little bit less in that phase of the game as of late. 45% of his overs coming in the power play, though. Keeps White rooted to his crease with another dot ball guided towards third man. Shiva Vashishat, one of the new players in the side for the SoCal Lashings today, up with it.
Nicely covering the line on that occasion. Wants to take the second run as well. Will get there. In fact, he's gone back only to regain the strike. Goes for 4. They've got to be better than that on the field. SoCal Lashings.
Body language out at the boundary rope. Appears to be Raj Purohit.
Not sure.
A little ways away there out at third man, but certainly displeased with his own effort and execution in that moment. Certainly uncharacteristic if it is indeed Raj Purohit down there. Sandhu a bit of a false start as he runs with this wind at his back. Deep protection right now for against David White is at extra cover and at third man. Everybody's short on the onside. He will work it into the shorter area on the offside, vacated by that deep protection. Quite an unbalanced field, actually, against David White. Somebody who I don't tend to think of as being afraid of putting the ball to the onside, but at the moment, just 3 fielders there. I had to move my head to check that the umpire was in fact the umpire and not a 4th fielder, but very unbalanced field here, and I would imagine then Sandhu with the task to try to keep that ball away from White and Ganesh. We'll see if they get the feet involved at some point here to try to counteract that.
Calls it off, and right thing to do. Saideep Ganesh with a sidestep and a dance. Sandhu is having none of it. In fact, you're allowed to do so. He's well within his rights to call off the delivery. Sandhu might be blaming the fact that he didn't land on the right foot or whatever it might be. Something to disrupt his rhythm. But it's very, very true that he was watching the batter till the last moment. And Saideep Ganesh was gearing up for a shot on the leg side with fine leg inside the circle. Nice low hands for Saideep Ganesh. Doesn't get it from the best part of the bat. Misfield will allow them a single. Oops, he's dropped his bat. Luckily, it's not a throw coming in at the non-striker's end where he has to use the extra inches of the bat to drag it and get to the other end. He was quite content jogging to the other end.
And another misfield out there right now. SoCal Lashings doing what we were discussing in the innings break that East Bay did not do. It's been a bugaboo all season for the Blazers that they've given away runs here and there. In fact, decisively so against the Silicon Valley Strikers a few weeks back in the game against them that they lost. So far today, taking advantage of a few miscues and putting a few extra runs on the board. It is White on strike. And another one not taken cleanly that will allow another single on a ball hit directly to the fielder. This has got to be making Sanchit Sandhu a little crazy.
He knew he had fielded it, still was searching for the ball because he had no clue where it landed. End of the over with that single. Sanchit Sandhu.
1, 2, 3.
Two overs gone, 18 for no loss. The engine room of East Bay Blazers needs to fire. And anything to do with a fantastic engine working in perfect condition for a longer time efficiently, you know you need Sunaka.
So far, primary engine, David White off to a mini flyer at the moment. 15 off his first 10, 3 boundaries already to his name. Sadeep Ganesh has just faced a pair of balls thus far.
It's a different template that the East Bay Blazers are following this time round. David White, the tall lad from South Africa, will take things forward, while Sadeep Ganesh from the Bangalore School of Batting, with his nice low hands, will take a bit of time. Oh, that's smashed away. Nobody moved. David White quickly latches onto this one. There was a fielder lurking at backward square, but he's only there to fetch the ball, not field.
Long run there for Skanda Rohit Sharma to get that. We've been talking about there being a bit of an unbalanced field with more protection on the offside. They do have the deep man there, but again, nothing that could be done about that one. Just too much pace on that coming off the bat of David White.
When you hit the first ball for 4 against the primary bowler of the opposition, you are sending a statement. David White has clobbered this one for 4.
And so far 13 off 6 against Hutchinson for David White. He's doing the work to try to take one of their main bowlers out of the equation quickly.
He's holding his shape as well. He's not trying to hit through the ball with a lot of power. He's quite content to meet the ball under his eyes, bat the way that he usually does, without any pressure. And it's only a matter of time before the spinners are introduced and he'll go for the sweep shots then to remove them out of the equation, to change their plans. You talk to David White in between the games and he tells you that I use the sweep shot not just because I can always rotate strike, but because, Joe, he induces the field change by playing the sweep shot. Because the opposition captain is forced to put a fielder at backward square, which sort of opens up other areas for him to gather a single with minimum risk.
It's not always apparent to a novice fan the amount of strategy that goes into those sorts of decisions. That, and I think I certainly appreciated it more from a bowling perspective early on, the idea of setting up a batter. And I think one of the joys of coming out here and being in person at these matches is when you can see it all at once. You can see the entire field. You really do get that sense of the way things are moving around in response and the way the batters take advantage of that.
He's taking the fielder on here. Tap and run. This is a very good run indeed. Sadeep Ganesh, always on his toes. He's a very busy cricketer. And it's just a matter of time before he ventures for shots which are not in the copybook, which are not in the textbook.
And David White, somebody that you appreciate for perhaps the elegance of what he does and just the precision and the crispness of it. Sadeep Ganesh, somebody who has just been full of surprises this season, getting a real run with the East Bay Blazers after being used somewhat sparingly by their neighbors to the north, the Grizzlies, last season.
Once again picks out the same fielder, Deepak Gosain. David White. In our game of cricket, it's very important for the batter to gather his thoughts, and that's exactly what they do when they walk towards the square leg. You might see many batters walk the other way as well, towards point. That is to talk to themselves, remind themselves that this is a longer game indeed. 20 overs can be a long time. That's a good field change that was made. Zohaib was called at least 3 yards inside the 30-yard circle to stop that single because they were very clear David White would be looking for one. 3 overs gone, 24 for no loss.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Not Deepak Gosain out there. That's Patton Clark again in the 18.
But on that occasion, wasn't it Deepak?
I'm pretty sure Deepak's the emergency fielder, but I'm pretty sure that's Captain.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. No, it's their fault.
I thought it said DJ behind it.
Oh, it does. He's been wearing the wrong jersey the whole weekend.
Oh, he's wearing the wrong jersey.
Yeah, all weekend. 3 overs gone, 24 for no loss. East Bay looking to build the platform to explode through the middle overs and chase down a target score of 192. Certainly looks quite a ways away, but if anyone's going to get that platform built, it's these two. Ganesh, though, right back to Sanchit Sandhu off the bowling hand and dropped.
Bump.
Believe a bump ball? Okay.
Sanchit Sandhu was in two minds whether to offer the hand to it, the bowling hand, or just let it be. Soon realized there wasn't a long off in place to be cutting that one off.
To be fair, he still dropped it, just not the typical cricket meaning of that word.
Well done, Joe, well done.
Ganesh so far has faced one ball in every over.
I'm loving this from Sanchit Sandhu. He realizes that Saidip Ganesh will never keep quiet. He'll be dancing around, so calls the keeper up. And that also means Dale has some less distance to cover for his 3-second journey. 3-second message to be conveyed in the to and fro journey.
That was going to be my question. Do you get the sense that that's a decision that Sanchit Sandhu's made, or one that Dale Phillips has done of his own accord at that moment? Obviously the captain.
Both of them are in cahoots. The captain always asks the bowler if he is fine with it as well, because he's the one to execute. And on that occasion, he's missed his mark. He hasn't executed it. It's not a good sign for Lashings. And the ball has to be retrieved by Himanshu and not one of the fielders inside.
And after 3 singles on 3 balls over the first 3 overs, Saidip Ganesh going to be feeling a little more underway now with a boundary under his belt.
Yeah, much required for Saidip Ganesh. That boundary will do a world of good to his confidence. Again, those nice low hands. That's a hallmark of his batting. And classic. That is classic Saidip Ganesh. One for the textbook, one for the heart. This time through covers, gets the boundary.
The big man Elmore Hutchinson stretched out that entire frame, still unable to corral it. And enough pace to get by Skanda Rohit Sharma, the boundary rider.
Elmore Hutchinson using every inch of his tall build to try and get to the ball, diving full length. He couldn't get to it. Skanda Rohit Sharma had little chance. That's in the air, but will land safely. Sanchit Sandhu creates half an opportunity, but did not have the field for it.
Protection in the deep there against Ganesh was at third man, and that cover. No changes authored here with David White now on strike. 1 ball left in the over. 9 from it so far. Saidip Ganesh beginning to get motoring along. He and White with rather different strike rates overall this season, but almost identical, 136.3 and 136.7 inside the power play. White turning on that one and hitting it where no one is located, over the top of the man at mid-wicket and to the boundary for a 4 to close out the over. A very productive one there, Suhas, for the East Bay Blazers.
East Bay Blazers definitely in the hunt. They wanted a good start. They've got a solid one. Both these batters have the ability to shift gears. Saideep Ganesh has shown a glimpse of that.
13 off the over, 37 for no loss.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At SoCal, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
On strike as we begin the 5th over. A change of bowling, but Ganesh, same result as the last over as he drills that one wide of long off. Guyan Fernando immediately victimized.
I think it's this, right?
4 runs.
But this? The win? Yeah. I can't do much about it. Okay.
Ganesh picking up right where he left off in the last over. Worth noting that at the moment, East Bay Blazers finishing the 4th over about 10 runs shy of the pace set by the SoCal Lashings, who were 47 for no loss through 4. That one in on the body of Ganesh. Thought about the quick single, now has to dive back as the throw goes to Dale Phillips behind the wickets. We appreciate those of you watching along here. Glad to have you with us, and also glad to have the feedback about the current issues with sound being produced by the wind rattling everything in our immediate vicinity. We're going to do a little bit of work to try to make this a more pleasant listening experience.
We've got Ryan hanging by the tarpaulin at the moment.
Ganesh gives himself some room, loops this over the top. It's a tough chance for Shiva Vashishat, who got a hand to it but cannot hold it.
It's never easy running backwards. He had to be running sideways, isn't it?
He and Katane Clark both in hot pursuit.
That is DJ.
Correction, Deepak Hossain alongside Vashishat.
There are 2 DJs, right? Both of them are wearing the same.
After the single, David White now on strike. Puts that one to the man at mid-on. No, not a clean pickup on that one. It'll be a pretty straightforward single. At least a little surprising so far not to have seen any spin employed here by the SoCal Lashings. They do have a handful of them available in the shed, and East Bay Blazers on this track used them to great effect in the first innings. Dale and Pereira in particular combined for just 50 runs off their 8 overs. Saideep Ganesh will pick that one up and guide it wide of the man at square leg.
Saideep Ganesh does pick it up, but Skandar Rohit Sharma in the deep did not. He was running the other way. Now he shall to retrieve, of course. East Bay Blazers get off to a start that they were dreaming of. When you want 192, then you need to get a start of this kind. 4.5, 47 on the board. Oh, that is clobbered from the middle of the bat. Saideep Ganesh, save your legs.
Big over for him. He had no boundaries at the beginning of the last over. He's now gone to the rope 5 times. 4 fours, and now a maximum.
What a way to bring up the 50.
Indeed, 50 brought up 53 for no loss through 5. Move the whole thing.
Again, first sign of spin in the shape of Abhimanyu Rajpurohit. And he's got to provide the breakthrough for his side. He's yet again got to step up for his side. SoCal Lashings desperately in need of a wicket. East Bay Blazers off to a blazing start.
On the 50 opening partnership, absolutely not an unusual thing for these two. They've authored 3 partnerships, in fact, in excess of 70, a 74, a 94, and a century partnership. First ball to David White. Guided behind him to backward square. That'll be a dot ball to start.
Rare dot ball indeed. Manu Rajpurohit is slightly changing the field. It's the feeder at backward point. Now he's moving back to backward point. The feeder at backward square leg now will move to become a conventional mid-wicket, but will start from the edge of the 30-yard circle. White ball signaled. Luckily, the ball ricocheted, but went straight to the nearest field. The third man's inside the circle. Otherwise, could have been more. Without a ball being counted, you give away 2 runs. It's just a gift to the opposition, indeed.
We'll see here if David White looks to get off strike and give Ganesh a little more of it. Ganesh generally more comfortable and a faster scorer this season against spin. Of course, at the moment, absolutely on fire after that last over.
Manu wants to keep it tight. Something's off. Decides to pull out of it. Yeah.
Rajpurohit at the moment looking to ride that tram line and has gotten the aim wrong a couple of times. White not stepping too far across. Does give it a little bit and now lifts that over the protection on the offside. 6 off the bat for David White. Says, why would I get off strike and give it to Ganesh? I can do this just as well as anybody.
Swift and sensational. David White is doing it in style for the East Bay Blazers at the moment. Minimum risk, and for a man who's got that additional reach and power, he's toying with the bowling, making full use of the first 6 overs, full use of the fact that only 2 men are allowed to be at the boundary rope. Those two at the moment are Courtney Clark at a very wide long on and a deep backward square. He started with those sweep shots. One of the best things to do if you're attempting a sweep shot is, of course, move outside the line so that you don't become a candidate for LBW.
So long as it doesn't pick up an awful lot of turn off the surface and go straight into the stumps behind you.
David White would tip his hat and say, well, ball there.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
Watches this one go, but is allowed to do so because he knows he's got the bigger boundary in this over. East Bay Blazers will not be complaining at all. They've got a dream start indeed, especially when the mission is 192.
They've just about gotten back on pace with where SoCal Lashings were at this point. They finished the power play at 64 for 1, so at the moment just 4 runs behind, but 1 wicket ahead of the pace with 2 balls left with the fielding restrictions in place. Change of angle here for Raj Purohit as he's going to come around the wicket for this 5th ball of the over to David White. Perhaps for a little more angle, a little turn into the right-hander. Correction there, I may well have missed a dot ball earlier. Just 6 from David White from the over. That ends the power play. 60 for no loss for the East Bay Blazers.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Signal that wasn't there. Fielding restrictions lifted. Spin coming from both ends here as we start the 7th over. Looks like Harpreet Singh from the Barrett Avenue end for his first action of the day, opposite Raj Purohit. Harpreet, someone who's been pretty useful the last handful of matches for Dale Phillips' side.
Yeah, very tall offie. It's always good to have a very tall off spinner, isn't it?
Certainly.
You keep the opponents on their toes, literally.
Certainly on a day like today and a pitch like this that has offered some interesting variable bounce. Somebody who has the capacity to get it to jump up on you, and that skidded delivery becomes ever more effective. Harpreet Singh, the team leader in economy, has given up exactly a run a ball over the course of this season. That one, though, back behind Sadeep Ganesh. It will be a wide.
Harpreet Singh would want to keep it outside the R and in the bargain pick up a wicket. Sadeep Ganesh has shown signs of dancing down the track and doing this as well. It's something that he's been practicing for a long time. Ball needs a bit of Sunoco to reach the fence. Doesn't have it. Sandhu collects and dispatches the throw. A direct hit too. But David White with his long legs gets there in 5 strides.
A 3 for number 33 there on the inventive stroke. Just like that, 1 ball past the power play, now at 64 for no loss. Two worms basically nuzzling each other at the moment. East Bay Blazers offering a near replica of the SoCal Lashings innings so far.
Will not get a single this time. You could see the applause that the single dot ball could attract. SoCal Lashings need a moment of brilliance on the field to get buzzing again. At the moment, the shoulders are drooping. Dale Phillips has got to tell his boys that this is still possible. Oh, Dale Phillips misses this one. This one died on him. Work in tandem by Raj Purohit and Hutchinson to dispatch the throw eventually. 3 runs added to the tally without a ball being counted.
A little bit of boundary fielding ourselves here at the comm spots, and
very well fielded. The one-handed effort to catch my notes.
Working in a tandem as well over here.
I think it's a nice warm-up to catch my laptop next. It's blown away twice already. That's how strong the wind is.
If it picks up the laptop, I'm ducking. Self-preservation first, my man.
Oh yeah, we've got 3 more weekends to go. That one's missed. That should have been stopped. What East Bay Blazers have done by timed aggression is the fact that they've now allowed themselves to take those easy singles without putting much pressure on themselves. As simple as that.
Indeed, managed to keep this run rate required at a very manageable 9.26 right now. Roughly a boundary per over from this point forward as Saideep Ganesh guides that one to the offside. Protection in the deep. And a single taken.
David White is surveying the field and looking leg side more. Would he be hitting it with the turn? He's allowed to do so because the wind is also in that direction.
Flicked where mid-on isn't. Another single there. That will bring an end to the over. 70 for no loss through 7.
I lost the page where I was keeping track of this, but it flew away.
Oh no.
I think it flew away. I think it's done now.
I feel like I would have seen. Not that.
No. Where is
Pedro end. Continue a run of 3 consecutive overs of spin, following up the 5 overs worth of quicks to get the second inning started. Quickest thing right now is the scoring rate for the East Bay Blazers, who have continued at this torrid 10 runs and over pace. Of course, SoCal Lashings did very much the same. They were at 74 for 1 at this point.
SoCal Lashings desperately need a wicket. Saideep Ganesh is off for a single. No damage done. Rightfully sent back. Would have been a very tight single indeed.
David White trying to work the reverse sweep there. Take advantage of the short man over at third man. Short and wide for that matter.
Gentle tap for a single. David White and Saideep Ganesh, both of them have managed 10 runs per over very consistently. Mostly that is by targeting the first half of the over to set the tone nicely for the over to come. But Raj Purohit's over has started off very quietly for Saideep Ganesh's liking. That's the first shot of aggression.
Protection in the deep there, but some absolute venom on that swivel and fire from Saideep Ganesh. Another single, that'll bring White back on strike.
Overrunning is the story on that one. And will run away for 4 as well. If you're the fielder, you don't want to be looking at Raj Purohit at this moment. He's not the happiest man on earth.
Goodness gracious, it looked like a complete misread off the bat. Either that or the ball hit a rock.
You've got to be prepared for handling the ball, especially when you're finding yourself as a short fine leg fielder. You will get it from very odd angles. The batter is never going to show you the full face of the bat. You're not at covers or at point. That should have been stopped. And as he so very well does, David White will quietly saunter through for a single after hitting a boundary.
It's beautiful stuff, as you said. A little bit of aggression, get the big shot in, set the tone, turn it over to your battery mates. White and Ganesh going at nearly the same number of runs at this point. We haven't seen that out of any of the bigger partnerships so far today. This sort of balance.
In musical parlance, we call it Jugalbandi. A dot ball to finish off. Raj Purohit finally gets it right. 8 overs gone, 77 for no loss.
1, 2, 3.
Nearing the halfway point, ninth over here, 77 for no loss. And if it gives you any sense of what a great season White and Ganesh have put together at the top of the lineup, that is still just the third highest scoring partnership they've had this season to open the batting for East Bay.
What a tremendous start this is. SoCal Lashings haven't been allowed a sniff. No opportunities created. And cruising towards the target at the moment, East Bay Blazers with all the 10 wickets intact. Here is Harpreet to change plans of, well, that is an appeal which is very, very audacious indeed. David White's already a tall man and it is hitting his thigh pad. That is exactly why Phillips did not join in the chorus. That's gone high in the air. This could be the opportunity. Fielder under it, but puts it down. David White survives to tell another tale. SoCal Lashings cannot believe this. The partnership could have been broken, but they still got to wait to see the back of David White.
Zohaib Ahmed out there having to contend with the strong Morgan Hill wind. We had a little bit of it gust up as that ball launched itself into the sky.
The first mistake induced from David White's bat, and that almost went down as a wicket. SoCal Lashings, they need to find some moment of brilliance. That's another fantastic moment of running between the wickets between Saideep Ganesh and David White. And what's been interesting to watch for me is the fact that Saideep Ganesh has been quick as ever. David White's got to cope up. David White's done that really well.
Ganesh now looking at those supplemental sheets there and operating with the reverse sweep. Trying to push that fine of Raj Purohit here at third man, or perhaps trying to split that gap between him and DJ.
We'll go through with a shot this time. The first one was just a practice, a dry run. Doesn't have enough fuel to reach the fence, but 2 more runs nonetheless.
That's why we do rehearsals.
Saideep Ganesh, moment you think he's given away his plan, rather he was preparing for the bigger moment. Oh, very good delivery. Excellent adjustment from the tall Harpreet. A dot ball where the batter almost yacked himself and disturbed the stumps. End of 9 overs. East Bay Blazers cruising at 82 for no loss.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
The first ball of over number 10 is headed in the direction of the parking lot off the bat of David White. An absolute rip off of Abhimanyu Raj. White's total reaching 46 here as the two worms continue to travel right alongside each other.
Oh my God.
The wind continuing to pick up, and the most remarkable thing about that David White shot moments ago is that it was hit into this wind. This one guided to the man at mid-wicket, coming in from the boundary. White will get himself a single, and again, we see that sharing of the strike, making sure that Saideep Ganesh continues to get a steady diet over at the other end as well. A 6 followed immediately by a quick single.
Targeting the leg side again, and that is a ball which will be greeted in the dugout.
One bounce and over the boundary, 2 already reaching the rope out of the first 3 in this over. 11 runs from it off the first 3.
What a good start. East Bay Blazers. 93 for no loss with 3 more balls to go to reach the halfway mark. Raj Purohit, he's been bowling well, but he's only interspersing the good deliveries with the poor ones. That's been a bigger concern. SoCal Lashings, apart from the fact that they're dropping sitters.
He's given up a few singles, had a lot of dot balls, but those 2 4s and 2 6s weighing heavy. Ganesh trying to loop that over the head of Dale Phillips. He's been able to find it. There might have been something there. Instead, falls harmlessly for another dot ball.
Saideep Ganesh, it's very difficult to keep him quiet. In the end, he's taking it as a full toss on the leg side. Would have been better served had he stayed put.
And might have been able to inside out that one over long off. Instead, a single to end the over, 12 from it, 94 for no loss. Pace from the Barrett Avenue end, Guy and Fernando back into the attack. SoCal Lashings at the moment looking for answers, conceding 9.4 runs and over. East Bay Blazers in need of 9.8 from this point forward and have yet to lose a wicket, well and truly easing their way into this chase. The target now less than 100 runs away on a day when they are in desperate need of a win to keep pace with Seattle. Thunderbolts also gave up a big total earlier today against the San Diego Surfriders, and they needed until the final ball of the innings to chase it down. They were down by 1 run going into that final ball, picked up a 2, walked away victorious, dodging yet another super over. Ganesh on strike, Guy and Fernando steaming in for the first ball of the 11th. A lot of work to do out in the deep on the cover boundary. That work done well. Limit Ganesh to a single to start the over.
It's one thing to score 94 and 95 and 10.1. It's quite another to score them the way these two have done so. Minimum risk. Just one opportunity, which was spilled. Before that, about 80, 85 added. And the way they've gone about their business, calm, collected, and very professional. It's almost as if David White feels at ease when he knows how much to chase. That's a good dive. Harpreet will keep it in the play. Saeed Ganesh is one of the quickest runners in the entire tournament. You never know, you might see Sunoko sticker on the bat as well very soon.
With that, David White moves to 49. East Bay Blazers fans looking for an opportunity perhaps to celebrate in a moment. Additionally, now 97, the total on the board for the team. This one worked off the pads. They will take the single, and it is indeed a 50 for David White.
Well compiled half century. It's been rock solid, and he acknowledges the crowd which is cheering for him at the same time. A glance towards the dugout to suggest that he's still there is a glance of reassurance. Saeed Ganesh, interestingly, has played the extra pair of hands. Usually it's the other way around.
It will be his fourth 50 in 6 innings. His last 6 innings, I should say. He's had plenty more innings than that, but as of late, on a very hot stretch, trying to chase down Shahan Jayasuriya, Saeed Ganesh says, "Thank you, David White, for the strike. I will get a few of my own and move towards perhaps my own half century."
Yeah, one more hit of that kind will lift the bat as well. East Bay Blazers now into the 3 figures. 102 with all the 10 wickets intact. That is one way to cruise towards 192. It was a good batting track, all right. But to get it done in such a manner, just get a feeling in a couple of overs, you might be saying it is East Bay Blazers' game to lose from there on if they do something which is called harakiri. Or that is not where he intended to hit it, but that's all right. In the scorebook, it's 4.
And the 50 up for Saeed Ganesh, just a few balls after David White obtains it. The 100 partnership, everything firing the way of the East Bay Blazers through the first 11 overs of this second innings.
For every run scored by East Bay Blazers, the SoCal Lashings are not just dropping their shoulders. There's Seattle Thunderbolts as well who are praying that SoCal Lashings pick up a win over here. That is a very good Yorker. Where was this hiding? And that is the first Yorker executed to perfection in the entire day by a pacer.
That'll finish off the over. 106 for no loss. The best opening partnership of the season for the East Bay Blazers. We'll survive 9 overs. The elephant. I'm all right.
Oh, you're on the indoor.
Off of his 2 overs.
Poor delivery to start with. David White, he's rattled the bowlers. 50 of just 37 balls. It's not the quickest 50, but it does the trick. What's the second run? It's the second run off the misfield.
I think in that situation there, the call immediately of 2, putting the pressure on the men in the outfield.
And that's one of the benefits of starting with great pace. When you run the first one really hard, you can put that additional pressure on the fielder in the deep and induce that. Oh, this is a misfield that David White would not mind. By his signal for taken. It's Dale who puts his hand up to apologize because he knows every run is something that you need to make the opponents fight for, not gift them.
By the by, sincere apologies. We missed a leg by signal. Saideep Ganesh has not gotten his half century yet. He's still on 46. We'll see if he gets his opportunity later on in the piece. Partnership here to open now up to 113.
Oh, good Yorker. This timed aggression by throwing caution to the winds has worked East Bay Blazers' way. And it's the second time it's worked. First in San Diego. A poor delivery. This is the problem when you're bowling to someone of Saideep Ganesh's kind. It's also off the bat, it seems. 50 it is for Saideep Ganesh. The persistence and patience.
And on top of that, a no ball and a free hit to come from a hitter that knows what to do with that.
46 of 29 and then gets bat on that one. 50 of 30 deliveries, the quicker of the two. And now gets a free hit as well. It's almost as if, well done, you've reached a landmark, here is a gift. The lack of discipline is hurting. It's hurting SoCal Lashings big time. 191 for 3, the batters have done their job. Bowlers have to pull their socks up. Fielders have got to support. At the moment, the chips are down. Saideep Ganesh is little annoyed with himself. Reason being, he thinks he's missed out on an opportunity despite there being a fielder in the deep.
You know, you could hear the cry of anguish from over here, Suhas.
Punched off the back foot. This game can well be done and dusted in quiet singles. You never know. They're using short bursts of aggression here, East Bay Blazers. That is straight, high, but Hutchinson will complete the catch. Saideep Ganesh plays a shot a little tired. 51 of 31 for the man. The first wicket down as East Bay Blazers amass 121. And SoCal Lashings would believe it's the first of a bit more to come.
With that, the partnership brought to a close. It is the third highest scoring opening partnership in minor league cricket this season, behind only the New Jersey Stallions and the New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers. So outside of New Jersey, they win. That'll also, of course, be the end of the over. 121 for 1. One here, too. Wait, do I have one? Never mind. Never mind, I got one. I forgot about this. First wicket down, bringing about a conference amidst the SoCal Lashings. Mark Dayal, beneath the yellow baseball cap, ready to take his station alongside David White. 121 so far the total, 71 runs away. And we've talked a bit here about Himanish Ganju research that indicates eight overs left, about 71 runs with 6 wickets in hand, gives you a 50-50 shot. It's exactly the number of runs the Blazers have left to get, but they're only down the single wicket. So you would imagine at this point of the play, the Blazers with a slight advantage as they look to chase this down. And of course, as the Seattle Thunderbolts, perhaps in their van tuned into YouTube, continue to hope that SoCal can find a turn in the tail. So far, those second innings, all East Bay.
David White's importance is a bit more now after the wicket of Saideep Ganesh has fallen. He's got to shift gears and try and play the anchor's role to avoid any more hiccups. As Mark Dayal will bat the way that he usually does. Very busy cricketer, doesn't take much time to get going. He's walked out with a cap, but he requires something sturdier, something that can take a tonk just in case he doesn't duck into a bouncer. And a helmet would do.
Decision to go to pace here with Dayal coming out. Potentially a dubious one. The 29-year-old Trinidad native, 197 the strike rate right now at this point in the season against pace.
He's already done it before, isn't it? He's done it in the CPL as well against the Trinbago Knight Riders, scoring that brilliant half century when it's a low-scoring game, and started this tournament, 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Started this tournament with a wonderful half century against Seattle in their backyard at the Klahani Park. 55 of just 19, picked up the most valuable player as well. Oh, just away from what was as straight as it gets for a cricket shot. As an umpire, you've got to have great reflexes indeed. Mark moves towards the right and Mark Dayal moves towards the left. Well done to both of them. The ball sneaks through for 4.
Either you need quick reflexes or you need one of those little arm guards that you see some of the umpires in England making use of. In fact, not only has it avoided the umpire and all that, it apparently found its way through the gap between advertising boards and sight screen and well onto the field behind. Ball back in the hand of Fernando. Fielders back in their stations, ready to go here. A 4 to start the 13th.
David White frees his arms, and I think it's hit on the full. We're waiting for the umpire's decision, but Mark Dayal's has come first. Oh, David White is making this boundary rope look minuscule. The towering man with his free swing of the bat. The ball travels on its own. It's just helping that he's hitting it with the wind. It's not like he requires it, though.
Looks like the conversation continues amongst the umpires. Certainly from here, it looked like it got it on the fly and bounced up off of that. And a nice addition here at Morgan Hill. Last season didn't have the actual rope with the advertisements, and apparently judged to have gotten there on the hop. So only 4 awarded. Certainly looked 6-ish from here. Perhaps David White with a few questions about that as well.
David White probably asking the umpire, if you want, I can just hit it well further. Doesn't get it from the best part of the bat. Will pick up at least a single. It will stay with a single as Mark Dayal doesn't want to run towards the danger end. Mark Dayal in the game for the first time with the bat in hand.
You almost wonder if the conversation between himself and Mark, the umpire, was, said, are you going with the 4 because I almost killed you a ball ago? Having once been nearly the target of a David White boundary shot, I understand if you hold it against him.
Oh, I'll tell you what, next time Mark Dayal's calling for a helmet, he better bring another. No matter... It's the other Mark as well who requires one. Oh, David White. When he hits it, it stays hit as well. No half measures whatsoever.
No, especially this over. He has been tattooing it, and here's somebody who's also an author of that kind of shot regularly. A bit of a soft caressing one here to get Dayal off the mark.
See the conviction with which he offered the full face of the bat there and was clear about the fact that he wants a single and nothing more.
I mean, the way he's hitting it right now, why wouldn't you hand the strike back to David White?
Oh, yes, you've got the best seat in the house. SoCal Lashings would be praying that they get the wicket of David White. How is that possible? Well, square legs up in the circle, then it's going to be square leg. And who's going to drop back? A third man would be in position. So it's not going to be a short delivery, is what one can say.
Guides that through the gap on the offside. There is protection. Brief thoughts of a two, but David White sends Dayal back.
David White has shifted gears immediately. And this is what has been the characteristic of this particular innings. He's not been scoring runs in a manner that he says, okay, let's go for the big shots and let's just continue to do so. He's been utilizing the big shots in short bursts, interspersing them with singles and sometimes converting them into twos.
Well, Suhas, you and I saw it several times over. The Golden State Grizzlies have been victimized repeatedly by the bang, bang, gone. And it seems to be that third one, what you might call in basketball the heat check, that tends to victimize you and end your innings.
Catch it is a call, but that's going to land very safely. In fact, we'll also go to the fence. The ball with the torque, taking it further away from the fielder in the deep. Sandhu. Mark Dayal's also amongst the boundaries. East Bay Blazers are cruising. SoCal Lashings. But they've got to find a way to pick up a wicket again. It's 136 for one after the end of 13.
1, 2, 3.
Seven overs left to get 56 runs. The asking rate down to 8 at this point. We saw Seattle earlier today chase down a big total authored by the San Diego Surf Riders, but it was a very different trajectory to that innings. They lost a few early wickets and really from about the 8th over onward needed to go at roughly 11s, even 12s from there to the finish. They managed to get that done. East Bay Blazers, by comparison, making a slightly larger total look a lot easier so far.
Managed to get that done is sounding easier, isn't it? And it eventually was done. It's a last ball thriller. It's one of the beauties of covering 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. No matter where the teams are placed in the table, it's about that given day, how they perform. Was in the air for a long time for David White's liking. Still lands safely. I'm very concerned by the fact that the fielder in the deep thought it'll be better to hang back and go around the ball rather than targeting, especially when his team needs a wicket more than ever.
We've seen already the aggression, certainly between the opening partnership of Ganesh and White being willing to try to take those twos. Dayal also relatively quick between the wickets. Got to watch out there. See, SoCal have already conceded a few extra runs to East Bay by way of misfields and just a little bit of lackadaisical approach.
Oh, that is so Mark Dayal. Knows that he didn't get it from the best part of the bat. But that's going to hurt. That's going to ping. Leg by, in fact, no part of the bat still wasn't absorbed by that shot. Responds to the call of David White. I had the opportunity to interview him in a post-match presentation, not once but twice when he had the Player of the Match award. One up in Seattle, one in San Diego. Both the times he said the running between the wickets is so very often underrated, but in T20 cricket, it's about not being engulfed by where you've hit the ball because you're concerned about the fact that you're out or no. It's about putting the team first and running nonetheless by trusting the partner. And that's exactly what he's done over here.
And even in certain cases, that results in something as simple, even if you are out, as making sure that it's not the brand new batter immediately facing a ball as soon as they come in, making sure you get that crossover. Of course, that skill will no longer be valued in a few months, but for the time being, get it done.
It's going to change cricket drastically. Now the bowler bowling to a new batter and not a set one. Sometimes when a partnership break, you understand. The game's getting into a crucial stage. It can be the difference. So all cricket connoisseurs are waiting for October for that rule to be effective.
I'm sure all of us that love spreadsheets and calculations are fascinated to see what sort of quantitative effect it's going to have. I'm looking at you, Tom Nielsen, through the computer screen.
Yes, we've got some wonderful number crunchers, and they give us stats which are unparalleled and tell you a story. They don't lie.
Somewhat slower over than we've had in the last few. Just 5 from it off the Harpreet Singh over. 141 for 1.
Fourteen overs gone, 141 for 1. East Bay Blazers are cruising at the moment. They require 6 overs, 51 runs. It's still game on for sure, but even with 9 wickets in hand, because this game of cricket and this format of cricket turns very quickly. At the moment, David White is out there standing like a rock, 67 of 49, while Mark Dayal just walked in 6 of 4, providing the extra pair of hands that perhaps David White requires to see his team through. And David White has given many contenders of shot of the day. What do you think would be Duff a new shot of the day, according to you, Joe?
Ooh, I think I got to go with the second of those 4s that he hit. That just absolute scorched shot that we're relatively sure went off the boards on that rope. That I feel was a pretty strong contender.
I am with you on that one as well. Perhaps it gets 2 votes here. Duff News, the place to be for all sports connoisseurs. Not just cricket, but all sports. And do read their feature of the week, which is very interesting. So well written. And I always walk away richer after reading it.
Thing to watch out for here as we approach the death overs is that SoCal actually on the bowling side have got some pretty gaudy numbers at the death. Their issue this season largely has been an inability to make a dent in the power play. We've seen that borne out here. It took until over number 12 before they finally brought down a wicket, and they're still sitting at just 1 down, but 8.6 runs per over once the death overs begin, and the strike rate goes through the roof.
Wait for the umpire signal. The ball just died. Didn't want to bounce. It's got something on the way. The umpire signal that it's fine. It's got something on the way. He's got to feel that he's missed out on an opportunity here, David White. But it's not like he's got any less gifts on the leg side today.
Certainly the kind of ball that he would generally like to help around the corner and guide between DJ and Dale Phillips down here to find leg.
More like if it's a warm-up delivery from Elmo Hutchinson. Stutter, but that single will be complete nonetheless. And to add to the fact that it's not a clean pickup, the single would be complete without any resistance whatsoever.
With an awareness of how important it's going to be to get a couple of wickets here for SoCal. Of note here, just the second over all season bowled by Elmore Hutchinson that's not in either the power play or the death overs.
Taking a bit of time here, Dale Phillips, who's in search of the second wicket. Strengthening the offside field for Mark Dayal. And at backward point. Third man's inside the circle. Elmore Hutchinson. Ballard Avenue end. Oh, that is very cleanly struck. There are ways of hitting a 6. This is one of the simplest ways, is what you would believe. Elmore Hutchinson provides the pace. Mark Dayal provides the power. The ball has to be retrieved from a long, long way.
End of the day, a simple redirection of momentum. Mark Dale with his first maximum of the innings to go along with the one boundary he'd had already off the bowling of Gay and Fernando.
The equation now, 44 in 5.3. 44 or 33 balls. What do you reckon? If these two continue, it won't take 33 balls. It's exactly why SoCal Lashings would know the importance of not one but 2 wickets here.
Well, Suhas, you asked me at the start, or during the innings break for that matter, what my prediction was for this, and I had East Bay getting it with about 3 balls to spare. I think I would be tempted to take the under for sure in the event that these two can avoid losing their wicket. A little bit of a stumble there at the striker's end by David White, unable to make the turn cleanly, and so they will stick with just a single.
I'm not very convinced by this approach from Dale Phillips. David White, he has a man at extra cover, of course, but his third man's brought in. Elmo Hutchinson. Yes, now third man will drop back because Elmo Hutchinson has this ability to create the edges, to generate the leading edges. And that is when a third man would be very handy indeed. David White, just show him the maker's name once again. Opening the face of the bat and easily clearing the fielder inside the 30-yard circle. The ball was not stopping, no matter what.
You asked for my Daffy News shot of the day earlier. Can I change my vote?
You can. Why can't you? You definitely can.
I know I've seen clairvoyant a couple of times here on the broadcast by accident, but did not see that one in my crystal ball when the question was asked the first time. That was a thing of beauty. That for the equation down to 39 from 31, the run rate required down to 7.5 runs per over.
We were predicting that this game might be done and dusted with quiet singles as well. You never know. 38 required in the 5 overs to be bowled. It's not a daunting total with 7.5 to get 154 for 1.
What got into you?
At SoCal, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
He's going to bowl. $15 overs gone, 154 for 1. Dale Phillips has given up his keeping gloves and keeping pads. He's decided to roll his arm over.
It'll be his first action as a bowler this season. Trying to reach back into my memory before checking the stat sheet, but I did remember the one unusual over of Katane Clark bowling coming a handful of weeks ago, but this will be the first time for the captain. As a result, who have they handed the gloves to take that place? That Harpreet Singh headed back there behind?
Absolutely, Harpreet Singh would be the bowler behind the wicket. Dale Phillips.
Chase that began in search of 191, now to the point where it can almost be done with singles from this point forward. And so SoCal Lashings, knowing from here out, probably going to have to be a couple of wickets to get it done.
I think he's got him here. Yes! The leg stump is rattled. Dale Phillips, the man with the golden arm. What were you doing hiding behind the wicket? Here you are. This is where you belong for SoCal Lashings. The captain shows the way ahead.
And a brilliant innings for David White brought to an end there. 73 off the 54. For a moment there, I didn't want to say it out loud because I was worried about jinxing it. Apparently, I thought it too loud. Might we be about to see a third Centurion on the day? But it is not the case. It's going to fall to the captain Pereira to come out and take on the captain Phillips.
David White, what a fantastic innings. 73 will be greeted in that dugout. But in the end, a soft dismissal of a hardcore hitter.
Partnership here between White and Dayal certainly getting the job done, though. After the loss of the wicket of Ganesh, you might have thought there could be a slight swoon, perhaps a slowing of the pace of scoring, and instead 33 runs off of 18 deliveries while the two of them were at the crease together.
No, not that.
And my apologies, I saw the 7 and ignored the height. And as a result, thought I was looking at Angie Pereira. He's been coming in it for pretty much all season, but instead an early entry, a promotion in the order for Nawaz Khan, who we've seen do some damage at the end of matches recently.
How much of it was a decision to give it to Nawaz Khan because of Dale Phillips bowling? Will this be another wicket? Not one, but two. It is taken. Katani Clark is underneath. Dale Phillips is on a hat-trick. Banish the words part-time bowler. Dale Phillips is on a hat-trick in 2 balls that he's bowled. Now to all the statisticians would love to get in on this one. Well, form that column of strike rate with a ball in hand. Form that average as well. Would be very exciting to see.
Economy 0, average 0, strike rate 1.
Oh, that's a good catch. He just made it look so simple, Katani Clark, as he made look batting simple earlier in the day as well. But it's a very good catch indeed. Dale Phillips has purchased the wicket. Nawaz Khan, a 1-ball visitor.
And we were talking about my clairvoyance earlier. Here we go. Angelo Pereira to the crease.
You got to lend me the crystal ball at least for the business end of the tournament. Come on. In walks Angelo Pereira. We just say that you were right. You were just a ball earlier.
Not the first time.
Not the first time at all.
Not even in this game.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I think the microphones are switched off, if I'm not wrong. Who's in the finale? Just look through. Do the unagi thing that you do.
Break out the...
No, the microphones are not switched off. But I'm very sure that people would want to know what you think about who the finalists would be. Of course, it's going to come from clairvoyance.
I mean, the exciting thing here, if East Bay can get this done, it puts them basically a win over the Hollywood Master Blasters away from qualifying, so long as Seattle doesn't absolutely destroy Golden State. And I gotta say, I'm excited particularly for the possibility of an East Bay Dallas series in the first round. They all able to get off the mark. First runs conceded against Phillips.
And hat-trick saved. As we were speaking, had this game been played after October, Angelo Pereira would have faced, and with a new man in, you will always have a better chance of getting him out. Perhaps after the rule change, we can expect more hat-tricks.
That'd be fun.
Dale Phillips.
2 of those already this season in minor league cricket. Usman Rafiq and Hani Simhadri keeping it in the Pacific. West Coast knows how to party. How much flight on that one there from Phillips. Guided to the onside. A single and the captain's off the mark.
Angelo Pereira and Mark Dayal, both of them very seasoned campaigners. Angelo Pereira, international quality. Mark Dayal has been a star in the CPL. He's guided his team home, East Bay Blazers, many a time. Would this be another important game to replicate the same? This one came much like Kedar Jadhav. This was what Peterson calls the pie chucker.
Yeah, that one looking like a slightly slow motion and less flamboyantly haired Lassit Malinga, which of course would have made Angelo Pereira feel right at home, but not so much Mark Leal.
It's gone through with a shot as straight as possible. Will reach the fence in no time. Didn't even require the dive from Deepak because that ball was flying away to the fence.
And after a difficult over, the 2 wickets taken at the outset of White and Nawaz Khan, the 4 at the end, making things a little bit easier to look at. 161 for 3.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
But 16 overs gone, 161 for 3. It looks like SoCal Lashings, a little late in the tournament, have found a wonderful bowler who was hiding in the camp all this while, just assuming another role. Dale Phillips, come the big game, has taken the majority of the wickets so far.
The conference following up the end of over number 16, wondering if we're going to have another surprise bowler selected here. But instead, no, it will be Sanchit Sandhu from the Barrett Avenue end. Harpreet Singh remains behind the stumps. Makes you wonder if Phillips might bowl himself again in the 18th.
Sanchit Sandhu has been given a very decent field indeed. The third man lurking around. Findings inside the circle. Man at extra cover. Sweeper in place. Backward point. Looks like it's going to be a long off as well. Long on. Man at deep mid wicket. And of course, a square leg has been positioned.
Sanchit Sandhu, if he bowls to his specialty here at the death, it'll be a manner of looking to pick up some extra wickets. His economy tends to balloon at this point of the match to 10.7. But he's been picking up a wicket every 7.7 balls.
He doesn't have that many in this over. He's got to pick up a wicket. The slower delivery, something that he's been practicing a long time for. To deliver it in a match situation. Gets it right. And the ball also almost died. It didn't bounce at all. Good collect by a part-time wicket-keeper. So Dale Phillips, after he gets to bowl, hasn't padded up to keep again. Is that a signal that he'll come back to bowl? Or is that a signal that he trusts Harpreet to be fantastic as a keeper? During the death especially. You need the extra skills.
Or a signal that he's just tired of it after 3 entire games this weekend. Gloves get sweaty.
He's kept it well. Mark Dayal is looking for the glory shot. The ball's not bouncing as much. Sandhu is finding a spot which is assisting the bowler more. Immediately, the experienced Angelo Pereira will have a word with Mark Dayal. I think it is to reassure Mark Dayal that everything's under control and not be under pressure at all. Equation. 31 required in 22 balls. Thing can get tighter, more dot balls, you never know.
They all right here too, looking for a little bit of a renaissance for himself over the last couple of weeks. Has been held under 30 runs in each of his last 3 innings, 12, 29, and a 2-ball duck last time out. That on the heels of a 48 and a 52 in the 2 matches prior.
Big swing and a miss. And we'll wait for the umpire signal. The arms eventually spread. That is the margin of error. That is the margin of deciding a game which just goes down to the wire. Imagine a dot ball being strung together, 3 of them it becomes. Otherwise, now it's a wide delivery, which means Mark Dayal has the license to feel that he has the upper hand.
Certainly at that moment, Sandhu's got to think twice about where this one goes. Seems to be trying to keep it away from Dayal off the first 2 deliveries. Had the slower ball that skidded and forced the tight collect out of Harpreet Singh. And now one that misses the tram lines. You guide it a little bit further in, get to that 5th stump line and into Dayal's arc, especially if he steps across.
And the pressure is vented with that wide as well. Dayal offers enough bat on it. This is difficult to take. It'll run away to the fence just outside the reach of Deepak Gosain, who wonders why I'm not a yard taller.
There it is, that ball just a little bit further in. Gives Dayal the opportunity to get bat onto it and scoop it over the top.
There's no chance he would have got there, to be very honest. Despite him going full stretch, the ball was further going away from him with that much power, because remember, it's not from the middle of the bat, it's the torque that you need to calculate when it comes off the blade. Deepak Gosain did try his best though. No chance on that occasion. Much needed boundary for East Bay Blazers. 26 required in 3.3. This game can get tighter than we thought. Mark Dayal gets it from the middle of the bat, and that is when the ball travels the most. 6-4. Equation under control.
Just like that. 10 runs lopped off of what's necessary. It's now 20 from 20, a run a ball to the finish. Didn't need much to get it back under control, and Mark Dayal doing well to extend the arms and find those pressure release shots after a couple of dot balls and a couple of wickets in the last over.
Sanchit Sandhu is bolted in his arc. If the last ball, which went for 4, did generate the outside edge, was any indication whatsoever, he shouldn't have bowled it there. And at a comfortable pace as well. He's getting a little predictable with his slower deliveries. This one will go straight to the fielder at a very wide, long off position. But Mark Dayal knows he's done his job here. 10 runs have been collected already in the form of boundaries. Let's just pick up a single and hand it over to the skipper.
That long off out there trying to follow the ball a little bit after Dayal has been spraying it out in that direction.
Yeah.
More or less standing right where the 6 left the field of play earlier.
Sanchit Sandhu's figures have gone for a toss. It's never a good sign when one of your better bowlers is going at an economy of 11.2. A ball left to finish his 3rd. Not quite sure if he'll get the 4th over. Who'll bowl the 19th? It's going to be under a lot of pressure indeed.
Let's see, they've got one more left of Hutchinson at this point, I believe.
You never know, Dale Phillips might say, one more for me.
I'm interested to see.
I think that is past. I'd be very surprised if we see Dale Phillips again. Because it's run a ball now, the equation. Both the batters know they don't need to take additional risk. Nawaz Khan was sent in to finish the game. An over to spare, perhaps, with that.
You have one left from Abhimanyu Rajpurohit. Let's see if he takes a shot there, although Pereira lifts this one and targeting the Sunoco board out at a very fine long on. Another 6 runs to the total, and it's getting perilously close to academic at this point. 13 more needed off the final 3 overs. We'll see if East Bay can get it done here. 179 for 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Against Silicon Valley Strikers in a run chase that was almost complicated just by the psychology of dealing with an undefeated team that had seemed to find every possible way to get it done. You're almost, as an opponent, waiting, like, what am I going to do strange today, or what are they going to do that's going to take them over the top? And you have to put those thoughts out of your mind and get it done.
Mind you, it wasn't a Primus-less team. It wasn't a Reefer-less team. all good talent was available for the Silicon Valley Strikers.
It will indeed be Dale Phillips bowling himself again here for the 18th.
He's not run 22 yards. He's perhaps run 26, but he still makes it in time. Dale Phillips has decided it's going to be him. Very surprised by this move, though. Can he pick up another? That will spice things up. Oh, that's a beautiful shot indeed. Oh, it's a man of a shot. Well, I beg your pardon. It's a shot of a man who provides the assurance that everything's under control. What is it? What do you call it in this? It's called malapropism. Yeah, now I remember.
Angie Pereira bringing the target well within sight now. And again is going to split the man, and that will run away to the boundary. The slide in vain.
The first over from Dale Phillips was complete brilliance. The second over, negligence, not knowing where exactly his fielders are.
And with that, 188 for 3. East Bay Blazers one shot potentially from getting it done. And Angie Pereira striking at 380 right now, 19 off 5. 3 4s and a 6.
This tells you the importance of that half century and coming out unconquered. Angelo Pereira speaking at the right time. He's speaking at the right time. He knows the 2 boundaries have already been collected in this over. He wants that second run. The second run was an afterthought. That throw will have to be reconsidered. It wasn't even a throw. It's handing over an infant the cricket ball. He decides to roll it back. The second run was complete. Such proactiveness at a time when you have to fight for every single run.
Right to the same spot, and again, the loopy path. They will go to take 2, and that will be the job done. We said we might take the under on the 3 balls to go. They get it done here with 13 left in the kitty. And the East Bay Blazers continue to put the scoreboard pressure, as it were, on the Seattle Thunderbolts. They now advance to a record of 10-3. They've got 1 match left. It'll be next Saturday in Santa Clara against the Hollywood Master Blasters. Seattle in a situation now where unless something goes horribly wrong there, they are going to need to absolutely clobber the Grizzlies twice to make the postseason. Blazers in command.
Katane Clark's brilliance with a bat in hand goes in vain, as it's Angelo Pereira and Mark Dayal who see their team through after a brilliant start by Saideep Ganesh and David White. East Bay Blazers, the more professional of the two as far as this game of cricket was concerned.
And just the way they've gotten it done all season. Strong starts, maintained through the middle, and this time around able to resist most of SoCal's tendencies to restrict the run rate and pick up wickets at the end. We had the brief mirage there. Dale Phillips, stroke of genius, bowling himself for the first time all season, picking up 2 wickets on the very first 2 balls. But from that point forward, not a lot to be done. The runs, again, began flowing quickly, a number of boundaries in those last handful of overs. In the end, taken care of with 2 overs to spare.
The handshakes have begun. After a hard-fought game, the handshakes are always pleasant to see. It's been a great game of cricket, but you've got to feel for Katane Clark. East Bay Blazers have ensured they romp home so comfortably in the end. It'll do some good to their net run rate too.
As we've been telling you all weekend, more to come in Santa Clara next weekend. It'll be these East Bay Blazers facing off against the Hollywood Master Blasters at 2 p.m. on Saturday. And then 2 p.m. Sunday, the final game of the regular season. Silicon Valley Strikers taking on the Hollywood Master Blasters as they tighten all the bolts in preparation for a shot at a title defense. East Bay Blazers will hope for a victory, and a victory with enough distance to ensure that they also get to participate. Perhaps a chance for them both to head to Morrisville, as they would be taking on Dallas Mustangs if they manage to make the trip. We do look forward to seeing you then, perhaps in person at the festival in Santa Clara. Suhas, any chance that you'll be joining us next weekend?
You never know. It's one of the most exciting parts of covering cricket, especially with the 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. You never know where next weekend you are going to be as well. But we can promise you, from anywhere from this beautiful country, we would be there calling the game of cricket. It's all we got for you from this particular game. It's been a super Sunday, of course, with a double header. I'm Suhas Vedam, joined by Joe Hickey. And I really hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Take care.
Under 20.
Oh, carries through covers. A gorgeous shot indeed. And this outfield will carry the ball itself to the fence.
Get something in the jet stream right now, and it will travel. David White, top edge, running to the boundary at third man.
Nicely covering the line on that occasion. Wants to take the second run as well. Will get there. School of batting with his nice low hands. Will take a bit of time. Oh, that's smashed away. And on that occasion, he's missed his mark. He hasn't executed it. It's not a good sign for Lashings. Hands. That's a hallmark of his batting. And classic. That is classic Saideep Ganesh.
6.3 and 136.7 inside the power play. White turning on that one and hitting it where no one is located, over the top of the man at mid-wicket. A change of bowling, but Ganesh, same result as the last over as he drills that one wide of long off. 8 overs. Saideep Ganesh will pick that one up and guide it wide of the man at square leg.
Oh, that is clobbered from the middle of the bat. Saideep Ganesh.
Wrong a couple of times. White not stepping too far across. Does give it a little bit and now lifts that over the protection on the offside. 6 off the bat for David White.
Overrunning is the story on that one. And will run away for 4 as well. That's gone high in the air. This could be the opportunity. Fielder under it, but puts it down. David White survives to tell another tale.
The first ball of over number 10 is headed in the direction of the parking lot off the bat of David White.
Targeting the leg side again. And that is a ball which will be greeted in the dugout.
One worked off the pads. They will take the single, and it is indeed a 50 for David White.
Well compiled half century. It's been rock solid, and he acknowledges the crowd which is cheering for him at the same time.
He's had plenty more innings than that, but as of late, on a very hot stretch, trying to chase down Shahan Jayasuriya, Saideep Ganesh says, "Thank you, David White, for the strike."
Something which is called harakiri. Oh, that is not where he intended to hit it, but that's all right. In the scorebook, it's 4. Really hard. You can put that additional pressure on the fielder in the deep and induce that. Oh, this is a misfield that David White would not mind. Oh, poor delivery. This is the problem when you're bowling to someone of Saideep Ganesh's kind. It's also off the bat, it seems. That is straight. High, but Hutchinson will complete the catch. Saideep Ganesh plays a shot a little tired. It was just 19, picked up the most valuable player as well. Oh, just away from what was as straight as it gets for a cricket shot.
The 13.
David White frees his arms, and I think it's hit on the full. We're waiting for the umpire's decision, but Mark Dayals has come first.
You and end your innings.
Catch it is a call, but that's going to land very safely. In fact, we'll also go to the fence. The ball with the torque, taking it further away from the fielder. Ballard Avenue end. Oh, that is very cleanly struck. There are ways of hitting a 6. This is one of the simplest ways, is what one you would believe. David White, just show him the maker's name once again.
From here out, probably going to have to be a couple of wickets to get it done.
I think he's got him here. Yes, the leg stump is rattled. Dale Phillips, the man with the golden arm. What were you doing hiding behind the wicket? Here you are. This is where you belong for SoCal Lashings.
Some damage at the end of matches recently.
How much of it was a decision to give it to Nawaz Khan because of Dale Phillips bowling? Will this be another wicket? Not one, but two. It is taken. Catney Clark is underneath. Dale Phillips is on a hat-trick. Banish the words part-time bowler. Dale Phillips is on a hat-trick in 2 balls that he's bowled. It's gone through with a shot as straight as possible. Will reach the fence in no time. And the pressure is vented with that wide as well. Dayal offers enough bat on it. This is difficult to take. It'll run away to the fence just outside the reach of Deepak Gosain, who wonders why I'm not a yard tall. Mark Dayal gets it from the middle of the bat, and that is when the ball travels the most.
From Abhimanyu Rajpurohit. Let's see if he takes a shot there, although Pereira lifts this one and targeting the Sunoco board out at a very fine long on.
Things up. Oh, that's a beautiful shot indeed. Oh, it's a man of a shot.
Bringing the target well within sight now. And again is going to split the man, and that will run away to the boundary. The slide in vain.
The first over.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.